Corvette held you up a little bit over here. That was nice of it.
The problem is he's so fast on the straight and then slow on the corner. But I guess that's a practice.
Yep. How's the car feel with the lower tire pressure?
Feels better on the low speed, but not as good on the high speed.
Okay, so we'll leave them where they are.
Yeah.
Just leave them where they are.
Although the only thing I'm curious, is there a pressure difference between left and right?
Feedback.
the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. What?
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, everybody, and we are live once again. It's middle of the day. It's the day shift. Let's clock in. Let's get some work done. Today's going to be an interesting day because we're going to talk about something that's been in the news a lot. I don't know how many of you guys have been paying attention and have watched it, but mostly we're going to deal with the disaster that's going on in North Carolina. And the reason for this is we're about to get hit this coming weekend with another hurricane that originally was going to be a Cat 2. They've now upgraded it to a Cat 4. It's going to be major storm coming through Florida and could sweep right through North Carolina again. And that is that's a big deal, guys. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of things that have to do with the way our government is supposed to work and the way it's not supposed to work and why we're in this stupid ass situation to begin with. Just as a little bit of housekeeping, kind of admin material. The way that Google handles the ads is weird. They put the mid-roll or whatever, they randomly put them in. I'm not really sure. I did go back through all of the settings, and I I think I've got it to where it's not going to be as annoying. You guys let me know if the ads are just terrible. I'm not really sure how that all works, but I can turn them off. But it does reduce the way YouTube pushes the video through the algorithms. So I hate to, I kind of feel like I'm screwed either way I go here. So we'll make the best of it that we can. What else is interesting? Tomorrow I may do a show midday. I'm not really sure. I've got some things going on, but I should have some time. And of course, Wednesday night we'll do a really good show for you guys, and it will be more along the lines of the typical lifestyle relationship sort of stuff. I'm trying to kind of lean away from the election for the next couple of days, just to give some breathing room, and we might even talk a little bit of ancient history back in my career when I was working stiff. Before we get started, before we go too far, let's let me see how many malcontents we got out there. I see that we have Ghost 1978, longtime supporter of the show. That guy is that guy's out there. And yes, we're going to talk about that 157 million to Lebanon. Absolutely. 13, Bujakan is out there. 13 is a cool dude. He actually has a really trick gaming setup. He sent me a picture of it. It is awesome. And we've got Mr. Boulay, who is in and out doing mod duties. So we'll try and not need a mod today, but if we do, he's on the job. He's also our top mod and a super awesome guy. Very cool dude. Of course, we got the bot WMD out in the chat. We got Mikey Balls out there. He's got his own channel, guys. If you haven't seen it, he does say some cool stuff. So you should probably get out there and hang out on his channel a little bit, see what he's about. And we've got and Kevin. Kevin's out there. My buddy Kevin. And Midnight Newton is out there. Welcome, one and all. If I missed you, I didn't mean to. It's just the way it goes. All right, guys. So let's start out with that. Kevin is right over there, right near the affected area in North Carolina, and I'm sure he has seen a lot of the things that are going on out there. And I have a friend of mine from Atlanta who has clients that are in the North Carolina area, and he's actually there now. He's recently had bought a Humvee, a surplus Humvee, and fixed it up really nice, or nice-ish, as much as you can make a Humvee. And he's over there. He's actually there now. He's been posting pictures on social media and videos about what the truth really is in that area. And I know you guys have seen in the news and on social media and all of these other areas, you've seen the pictures of the long lines to the gas stations. You've seen the picture. Sorry, I keep killing my mic there. You've seen the bridges taken out, like Kevin just mentioned. A lot of the routes through the mountains are just gone. They're just gone. The roads are gone. They don't exist anymore. Bridges just don't exist anymore. The rivers are swollen, and it's way worse than I think the news really wanted to portray. But unfortunately, because of social media, we get to see it. My buddy that's over there, his name's Johnny, by the way. Johnny is over there. I believe he's got one of his employees with him, and they originally went to help out a couple of specific guys, and they ended up, they're running supplies through because they've got a Humvee. It can pretty much go anywhere, and it's really rough, guys. It's really, really bad. Like, this is not like a kind of bad thing. It's a really bad thing. And it's a hilly country in that it's a hilly region. And so a lot of of slope, and a lot of houses are built on these slopes, and there are houses that have literally slid off, or been flooded off of the hillside and across roads into, like on the complete other side of the roads. People have literally um literally had everything they own is gone. I mean, and that's hard, I think, for a lot of us to think about. Think about waking up one morning and literally everything that you own is gone or destroyed. You can look at it, it's right there, but it's destroyed, it's useless, can't use it. And that's what these guys are going through. And FEMA, and we're going to get to FEMA here in just a minute. We'll get to all that. I just kind of want to set the stage here, because these are very rural areas. Even with four-wheel drive, even with really good equipment, you can't get back into some of these areas. There's timber slides and fells across roads that you are not crossing. It's going to take days to cut down these trees. Kevin is right. 25% of the people in those homes live in mobile homes, camper trailers, and that's just gone, right? Like, these mobile homes are not meant for this. They're not really meant for that kind of stuff. And yes, they will get overturned. They'll float away. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. So, but hey, most of we have a really high level of survival, right? Like, these guys are not, they're not dying by large. There are some, obviously there's always some death, and that's very sad. But for the most part, we're not looking at like a super high death toll. There's, people aren't getting murdered in their sleep or anything like that, but they're losing everything. But even worse is that they're isolated and they can't get out. And even if we'll come back to this in a minute. But the other day, on one of my, because I'm a pilot, and one of my flight blogs, there was a guy who was, flying his helicopter, and he was actually, initially he was only running supplies from one point to the other. Now, this is his private helicopter. The fuel that goes in that helicopter is his fuel. He's paying for everything. He's paying for the hours on that helicopter. It's his time. Nobody's paying him. This is pure volunteerism, as pure as it gets, guys. And he's flying along. He dropped off some supplies, somewhere where they couldn't get back into with vehicles, and he had noticed that these people had put in rocks and SOS in the driveway, their neighbor's driveway, because their driveway was gone. And these people have been living out of their car for 2 days because their house had slid down the mountainside. Their house was gone. Okay, gone. So they're living in their car for a couple of days. I think it was 2 days, maybe longer. I don't know. They're subsisting on a couple of bottles of water and some chips or whatever they had in the car. They've tried to signal other helicopters and been unsuccessful. And all of a sudden, here comes this guy in his little helicopter. And I believe he was flying with his son. Guy lands. He leaves his son there. He takes the woman back to safety. So he lands, drops the lady off. Now he's going to go make a second run to pick up the man, and then he'll make a third run to pick his son up. The assistant fire chief or emergency chief or whatever literally told them that if he took off and went and got that man off that mountain, he'd be arrested. And out of state fire chief who was there to assist in the rescue effort said, caught the guy as he was fueling the helicopter up, getting ready to go back to get his son. He said, look, if you go get that man, we'll make sure you have a safe area to land, and we will make sure that you're safe. Well, the guy decided not to risk it. He got in his helicopter. He flew back. He picked his son up. He explained the situation to the man. I'm sure he gave that man some supplies to get down. That guy took 2 days to climb down off the side of this mountain, to hike down off of the mountain. It took him 2 days to hike down the side of this destroyed mountain with all of the trees fallen and all of the roads washed out and all of the mud and all of that. Took this man 2 days to walk down to find his wife. And that's inconceivable to me that we have emergency people out there that would say such a thing. Yeah, the fire chief was going to have the guy arrested. And there was there were some other people who have airplanes that were going to fly out of various parts of the country, who were told that if they flew into these areas or flew over those areas, that they would be their tail numbers would be logged and they would be in trouble. So the weird part of this whole deal is a couple of days later, FEMA put out the FEMA put out an announcement saying that, okay, guys, we need help from all you private helicopter guys. Come on in and help us out. And that was because more and more people, more and more of the survivors, more and more of the people who'd been stuck in these areas that couldn't get out, were getting out and saying, hey, where the hell are the helicopters, man? Where the hell I mean, you can't get back in these areas. You've got to have helicopters. Where the hell are the helicopters? Why is it all private helicopters? And so they put out a call for the private helicopters because as of earlier this week, now I'm not sure of today because a lot has happened in the last 48 hours. 13, it is not, it is, but FEMA has special powers during during times of emergency. And I don't have an understanding of this yet. All I have is what has happened. I don't have any, there's nobody's released any, hey, this is why we did this or any of that nonsense. They've just, this is what has happened. This is all we know is what has physically happened. Right. So FEMA and local, the guy who had threatened to arrest the helicopter pilot was a local fire chief who said, if you take off and go put yourself in danger rescuing this person, we're going to have you arrested when you land. He said that, which I don't understand how a fire chief has arrest powers, but maybe they do. I don't know. At any rate, I just read and I've been reading these articles. So there's another article that's been put out through some helicopter guys that have said they are running missions in private helicopters using their gas, using up their helicopters, but there aren't enough. Where are the helicopters? He said that at the time he wrote the article, there were only two military type helicopters that were in the area, and one was a contract helicopter from like an oil exploration or forestry company, something like that, and the other was also, I think, a military style helicopter in private hands. I believe they're Black Hawk. Both were Black Hawks. I don't believe there are any National Guard helicopters. I don't believe there, as of yesterday when I was doing all of my research, there were no National Guard or military helicopters operating in the area to get back to these people who cannot get out. So maybe they are getting in there. Kevin reports that he saw two Chinook type helicopters fly by mid-afternoon. So maybe they're getting there. Yes, I agree. 13, he could have landed somewhere else, but they have his tail numbers and things like that. I understand the guy's hesitation to get in trouble. So I wouldn't want to do that. Right. Ghost 1978 says he used to live so far back in the mountains of North Carolina that a police radio wouldn't work. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't know why the YouTube has been weird lately. I don't know why that is. Glenn Beck is there and said they are confiscated truck donations. Yeah. So So the helicopter thing bothers me a lot because I know that pilots, by and large, are a giving group of people. I know that there were pilots that were flying their own private airplanes into that area, bringing supplies in so that they wouldn't overload the system, right? So if you can bring supplies in from Texas or New Jersey or Florida or wherever, if you can bring supplies in from those areas, it relaxes the demand on the local grid because you're not pulling supplies out of Nashville, for example, right? And these were people donating their own time and gas and money and to make this happen. So I really feel like that it's weird to me that the government first said, "Hey, don't do it," and then when the pressure mounted, when people started saying, "Hey, we're being told we can't do that," then they finally said, "Okay, you can do it." Yes, Mr. Boulay, I believe that they finally have said that they're going to send the 101st out of Clarksville into um, uh, into to help now, but it's 2 weeks too late. My opinion is that we're basically 2 weeks into this, and we could be we could have had a much better um, um, response, right? And this is what FEMA is supposed to do. And I'm going to lead into this. I promise. I promise there's a payoff at the end. Um, um, or I'm going to tie all this together. But just bear with me a minute. Twizzard, welcome. Michelle, welcome. Everyone that's come in, welcome. I apologize. I'm just kind of monologuing here. Kevin says his wife was in the Too Near Sam's Club last week for unrelated reasons. Said it was like a day after Christmas. Yeah, the place was ransacked. Absolutely. Right. Joe Anon says this is what FEMA equity looks like. So sorry. So now we've defined a couple of problems, right? The problems are that first, we have private citizens being told that they can't help other private citizens. And that's pretty fucked up. Can we agree? Can we agree that that's pretty fucked up? If I want to help, if 13's in trouble and I want to help 13, I should be able to help him with even if it causes me to put my life in danger. Michelle, thank you for dropping by. Say hello to your mom from all of us on the internets. So that's bothersome, right? That the government would actually say, "Hey, oh no worries." So sorry guys, had to reply to something. So now let's move to the next point. So let's talk about FEMA for a minute. Smoky Guru, are you qualified to help, and do you know what you're doing, or are you just going to get in the way? I don't think at this point anybody could get in the way. If you're trying to help out, somebody will tell you what to do, and you're not going to get in the way. That's the kind of thinking that I dislike because, if you can, obviously there's probably some hypothetical that I could come up with where somebody's going to go try and help somebody and not be equipped and they're going to die. However, I would much rather them, if you're capable of flying a plane, you fly in. That would be better. Now let's talk about. Let's move into the FEMA thing. So FEMA is a variant because we were getting all kinds of information out of FEMA that I don't know how real it is, right? I just don't know how real it is. Because on the one side they're saying they're out of money, on the other side they're saying they're not, but they're just giving out, they're giving out this other money. We hear one side politically say that, well, the money was given to the migrants or whatever you want to call them, the foreign nationals. On the other side, they're saying that during the last administration, Trump raided the coffers of FEMA, which I find to be highly suspect. really. I don't believe that claim at all, because since Trump was in office, we've had the Hawaiian debacle. And let us recall that the guys in Hawaii got very little money, and the exact same thing is happening and a slow response, and the exact same thing is happening in North Carolina. The problem I have with FEMA is I think it's a very poor organization. It's poorly structured to be able to respond to such emergencies. And I understand that Bush put it in place, and I disagreed with it then, and I disagree with it now. I think it's absolutely stupid. It's absolutely terrible to think about that our government is this poorly and ill-equipped in leadership wise to deal with it. But we would have been better off if we just let the locals handle it and call in agencies as they needed help. But we're not. That's not what's happening now. I've heard reports. I've not been able to confirm it. Every time I look it up, I get conflicting answers. So I'm just going to say that there are reports that one of the directors of or managers of FEMA that was on the ground got his ass kicked in North Carolina because he basically said tough, and he was being belligerent to the people asking for help. And that just doesn't, I mean, that probably works somewhere else, but it doesn't work here. And apparently he got his ass kicked. I don't know. Maybe I think that might be a myth. I don't know. We'll see. But here, look, guys, have you seen the pictures of the massive lines to the gas station so that they can get gas for their generators? Have we seen that? Have we seen and they need that because their food's going to spoil, right? And there's a lot of turmoil, and it's weird that we have it because in other areas we are not this is inefficient. Yeah, every store in Florida is like, yeah, they could have just called Florida for help. Yeah, I would love a video of somebody of some of the townspeople kicking the FEMA guy's ass. I can't find. All I can do is I can find references that it happened, but I haven't verified it. My guess is that there might be charges responded. CloverTack is right. You are your own first responder, and you need to be prepared. But even if you aren't, the guys that had generators are literally they're having to wait 2-3 hours in line to get to the gas station. Right. Yeah, exactly. Drake is right. Everyone's flooding those gas stations for their generators. They're not trying to leave the area. They're trying to just have gas for their generators because they probably had enough gas for a week. Right. These aren't stupid people. They live in the hills. This is my next point. And then we're going to roll fully into my criticism of FEMA. These are not people that are ill-equipped to handle. Most of them are not ill-equipped to handle life in the hills. They are used to power outages. They upgraded it to Cat 5. Fucking A. It was Cat 4 earlier. It just keeps getting worse. These are hill people, guys. These are guys that have generators. They have gas on hand. And they were probably okay for that first week. But because the FEMA response was so inept and so slow and so everything else except efficient, they now have to get out, and now they have to and they have to go to the gas station and get more fuel, and this gas station's out, and they have to go here. They can't get to this gas station, or whatever it is. It's terrible, right? It's just terrible. And it could have and should have been handled much better, right? It just should have been handled a lot better. Yeah, we can talk about everything across the board, but it's all going to come back to FEMA, because once FEMA's involved, they now are in control of so much. They have such a broad spectrum of power, And state agencies are not always able to do the things that they know how to do. Yeah, well, CloverTac, I'll digress here. I'm gonna address this. I agree with you, but if you have a week's worth of fuel on hand, which I believe, so here's the thing that here's the interesting thing to me, and you guys can reply, you guys respond back if you disagree with me. If you were, like most people I know that live out rural, right? Like not me. I live walking distance to 3 gas stations. But people that are actually rural, they have a week's worth of fuel. They keep wood, they have solar, they have all of this stuff in place. But because I guess you don't really expect to prepare for not being able to get out for a week. And I think that's what it was. And I don't know that, and I just kind of think it all happened because for the first week there really wasn't anything, it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, there was a lot of people, a lot of people displaced and a lot of people having to, are trapped and that sort of thing. Um, but I just don't think that I just don't know that they were prepared for more than about a week, which I think that's fairly adequate for the area they're in. Now, obviously, I think some of them are going to reevaluate. I think you're going to start seeing about a lot of sales of 500-gallon fuel tanks is what I think, and probably neighbors going in, and maybe the local fuel stations will start carrying more than a week's supply of fuel. So but the fuel is one thing, food is another. The electricity. I mean, it's a big fucking mess. Yeah. Yeah. Most of the people I know keep about a week's worth of fuel on hand to run their generator for a solid week. So, Tennessee really didn't get hit that bad. We had an interstate that got kind of fucked up, but that was about it. But the FEMA response is really interesting because it really seems underwhelming and poorly executed. And so I did a little bit of research on the director of FEMA. And the director of FEMA is this woman. Her name is Deanne. I hope I'm saying that right. Deanne. What's her last name again? I don't want to mispronounce it, guys. So let me make sure. Sorry. Criswell. Deanne Criswell. So Deanne Criswell is the current head of FEMA, and she is she comes over from handling the New York emergency. I mean, she's been at the point of a lot of emergency services, but they're all basically metro. And it doesn't seem like she has a handle on what's going on. And I don't think her leadership is very sound in this case. I think this shows a huge disconnect between the reality of what we expect from our government and the reality of what we can expect, the reality of what we expect from our government and the actual reality of what we're going to get from our government, which again, actually solidly lands me in CloverTax camp of don't count on fucking anyone except yourself and maybe your neighbors. And that's it. Because again, guys, you cannot get back to a lot of these places. The roads are gone. They're mud pits. They're tree fells that are 100 yards wide that are going to take days and maybe weeks to cut out and clear. And we got to have people that'll do that, it's gonna be bad. It's just gonna continue to be bad. Now we're 2 weeks or almost 3 weeks into this mess. We're just now getting military helicopters in to help. That should have been day one. Day one, they should have had helicopters in place, um, because they know the people are back there in the woods and they know they can't get out. No later than day three, they should have had the helicopters running almost 24/7, evacuating people. There should be, all this stuff should have been set up. And then, for the people that need to be evacuated, for the people that don't need to be evacuated, maybe fly some supplies in, or, get, start working on reestablishing the, how to get back into the back. Yeah, nobody knew how bad it was because everything was down. Uh, but that can't be true, because we know how bad it was, because people were saying that how far back it was affected. I mean, I've got pictures from people who have, sent out how bad it was. It lands right squarely. Honestly, it lands right squarely on those citizens' um, doorstep, because they chose to live in a rural area, and they also chose at the same time to not prepare enough and to trust that the government was going to help them. And folks, the government is not here to help you. However, they are, and all right, and so, but let's say that they are. Let's say that they are. Why is it that we can send $157 million, drop in a bucket, right? I have MREs. Why is it that our government can send $157 million to Lebanon for humanitarian aid, stroke of a pen, not even a second thought, nobody objected, nothing. Yet our own countrymen are suffering. Our own neighbors have had their property destroyed. We have terrible, terrible things going on, and there's not been a stroke of a pen to render aid. There's been a delay of resources getting to those people, resources that are already paid for. And this is inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. I can't think of anything more annoying to me than knowing that every year the hand is out. The claim is that we're gonna pay our taxes, and because we pay our taxes, the government is there to help us. The government is there to provide for us, and we're going to, because we pay all of this money in, our life is going to be better. And now what we're seeing in real time is that this is not the truth. This is simply not the truth. And so what we're seeing is terrible. Clover Tack, North Carolina's governor came out and said that FEMA is doing all they can and everything's wonderful, and we need to, everyone kind of needs to lay off of FEMA. I think he said that after one of the FEMA managers or reps or whatever may or may not have gotten his butt kicked in a town by some people. But yeah, I believe if somebody will fact check me on that, don't trust me. Look, my hands are free. There's no Google involved. Somebody fact check me on that, but I believe the governor has come out and said that that the FEMA's doing all they can, and everything's going to be great. So I'm very disappointed right now I'm very disappointed in our government, and with the live action demonstration of how ineffective they are at taking care of their own citizens. And yet we are exceedingly concerned with taking care of everyone else's citizens. Let me remind you that we have what amount to camps all throughout the United States for foreign nationals. We have no issues at all housing and protecting and caring for foreign nationals. But when it comes to our own citizens, the people who paid their taxes, who do the best they can, who choose to live in rural areas, to keep their cost of living down, to enjoy nature or whatever it is, our government has effectively said, "Fuck those guys. We'll send $157 million to Lebanon to help terrorists. We're going to fund terrorism today." And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fuck the U.S. citizen. We're going to fund terrorism. There's nothing, nothing to it. So, it all comes back to our government sucks right now. And only you, model citizens, can change that. Only you can change it. And not by voting. You're going to vote the right way anyway. You're going to vote for the right things. I believe in you guys. But you have to go to your neighbors and your friends and you have to tell them, "Motherfucker, stop it. Stop it. Do you not see what's happening to our own citizens? Do you not see how little the government actually cares for the taxpayers? Our government's bugged, boys. It's bugged. Reset that bitch." Right? Like, vote. Vote on, vote. Vote in every county, city, municipal election. It matters. Or you get shit like this. Just people living in their cars for days because why? Because the government can't get to them. And they have no real incentive to do so. And it's a real problem, guys. It's a real problem. And nothing illustrates it more clearly than what's happening in North Carolina right now. Right now, live action. Live action, real time. Go watch the videos. Go look it up. And talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. Go to your city council, go to your town council, go to your county seat meetings. And you talk to those guys that want to run. And if you can't talk to them, you listen and you find people that lean your way and you listen to them talk to the officials that are getting elected. Because otherwise we get like what we have now. We have a political appointee in charge of FEMA, an organization that is entirely designed to put situations like this to bed, and they're not doing it. Hardwire 1%er. I'm not familiar with you. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the chat. You are correct, sir. Here, hang on. I want to highlight this. Let me. I have to do that. We can put migrants in hotels, but our own citizens are on the street and homeless, and living in. Right now, I think they're mostly in. Aren't they in school gyms, guys, and things like that? Aren't we? We've gone back to the 50s, where we're putting them in gyms. So it's guys, you got to get involved. You just don't. I mean, bitching on the internet. You got to get involved. Every day, because it's not about left or right or center. It's not about money or no money. It's not about any. It's simply about their entire job is to take their entire job is to take our resources and use them to our benefit. We're supposed to be able to trust our politicians, and we don't. I don't. Maybe you do. I trust very few. Clovertac. Okay, well, I'll put that up there. Clovertac disagrees with me a little bit with the get involved first. You got to get your shit together, then you get involved. And some people are never going to have their shit together. We can't wait on that. They got to get involved now. Anson Knowles, welcome, sir. I see you out there. I see you lurking. I see you lurking. The biggest problem we have right now is that even if they have their shit together, Clovertac, is that they still want to take care of other people before our own countrymen. We have a problem with national identity. So we have to, I guess, in a way, I'm kind of supporting your stance there. You got to get it, but even if a guy isn't prepared, right? Even if a guy doesn't have his shit in order and he's living in an apartment and doesn't have a week's worth of food and all that, I need that guy to vote for people that do the right job. I need him to understand that, okay, yeah, actually, you've identified a very key problem. It's a very key problem, Clovertac, and that is people that don't have their shit together vote because in ways that don't help, and they have no interest in voting in ways that help everyone else. I'm not looking microscopic. I'm looking big picture. I am actually looking really big picture. So it's I can't take the position that somebody has to have their shit together. All I can do is I can take the position that I need them to understand that we need to have a national identity. And you can be black, you can be white, you can be green, you could celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I don't give a shit. But what I need you to do is I need you to be American first and vote in America's interest. So I guess that's what it is. True Republic, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you can come up. Mr. Boulay has the link. It may be, or may not be in the mod chat. You can come up, Clovertac. That's fine. We're just about through the monologue anyway. So I think, I don't know. Fuck, I've been paying attention. Yeah, we're close enough. Usually I go a little bit longer into the monologue, but that's okay. I do actually. I agree with Heartbender here. He doesn't like immigrants who come here repping their country like they just didn't flee from it. I kind of agree with that. I really agree with that. But we got to go back to the national identity. I don't identify as white. I identify as American. What's up, Grumpelstiltskin? Grumpelstiltskin, I think the biggest problem that faced the people in rural North Carolina ended up being gasoline. Oh, what's up, Heartbender? Your parents are from Iraq. Okay. All right. All right. Do you consider yourself Iraqi or do you consider yourself American? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer that. I don't think he's a troll, Anson. I think he tries to start some shit once in a while, but he's probably okay. He's the same kind of troll you are. You guys like to make people think. I am absolutely gonna spew all kinds of disrespect during Hispanic Heritage Month because I didn't know such a thing existed, and I have no reason why it does. And Kevin, you're the whitest person I know. You're so white that I can't. Yeah. All right. Guys, if you haven't already liked and done everything with the stream, do all the stream stuff for me, please. I would really appreciate it. It might help. It might get rid of some of the ads. What's up, Clovertac? How are you, sir?
Hey man, what's up?
I'm good.
Good. Good. Oh, I had some splaining to do,
Explain.
or I felt like I did. So what I mean is that
Well, before we get into what you mean, what's your assessment of the situation in North Carolina?
there's a Democrat governor, from what I just heard. Like, that was my concern. I'm like, why doesn't the governor just tell FEMA to go fuck straight off,
Hmm.
and then bring in the National
I read
Guard,
that
which
it
he
was a
can do.
Republican.
And then why don't the sheriffs and the other things, like that wouldn't fly here? They wouldn't
Right.
fucking fly. There would be FEMA fucks in jail, literally. Like,
Well, I think they
or
just did
or
jail a FEMA. I believe that a county in North Carolina has either
good.
jailed and or run out FEMA
Mhm.
completely.
Well,
Like
good.
they literally either they put them in jail or they ran them out of town.
And this is why local elections are so important, and people get disenfranchised and they don't go vote at all. And at least go vote down ticket. I don't give a shit
Absolutely.
whether you vote on the national level or not,
Sure.
federal level or not, but go vote local, please. Good lord.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Because I mean, it literally that's what's blowing my mind here is like, why is the governor? Why is the you know? Um,
Yeah. So I read two things.
it
First,
doesn't make
I
any sense.
read that, and somebody from the chat double check me on this, but I read the article I read this morning was that the governor was a Republican, not a Democrat, and he was basically siding with FEMA
Mm.
on basically line item. He's like, FEMA's doing a great job. I really respect everything and that they're doing. Or blah 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 blah. It was just a party line kind of
Well,
conversation.
I don't give a shit what he is, and it's irrelevant what he is as far as political affiliation. And when I made my statement earlier out there in the chat about, the government needs to, the
The governor
governor
probably needs to go.
needs to grow some nuts. Like, that's when somebody chimed in and said that he was a Democrat. And like, I don't even know. But the point is, whoever the governor is needs to grow some nuts. Like, that's his state. He needs to put his fucking foot down. Bring in the National Guard. Tell FEMA to get the fuck out. Get out of the way, at the very least. If they want to play a logistics support role or something, cool. Like, they want to help fuel helicopters and they want to help move water from one truck to the next. Like, cool. Come on, do that. Like, if they want to set up maybe some type of emergency medical care facilities in parking lots here and there or something, cool. FEMA can do that. But as far as boots on the ground, moving trees, getting people out, rescue effort, all of that, fuck FEMA. Like,
Yeah,
we
they're
got
fucking
we got this. Get out of the way.
They
Yeah.
are 100%. FEMA is fucking it up hardcore. And the thing is that here's what I find to be an interesting problem. Tell me if you've seen or heard about this in past FEMA actions. And chat, follow along here, and you guys can comment too. I really want some interaction on this. My impression of FEMA, every time FEMA's been called out, the first thing that happens is they fuck up local response to the point that nobody knows what they're doing. Everything slows down.
Yeah.
There are people that end up, there have been
Yeah.
deaths that have occurred because FEMA's literally told people in flooding situations, hey, you can't take your boats out there and go get people off of rooftops or whatever. Or, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it seems to be a management agency, a management company mentality rather than a, hey, no matter what, we need to rescue these people, right? Like, no matter what we have to do, I don't care who's,
Right.
I don't care if we,
Well,
I think the director of FEMA ought to have the attitude. I don't care if I have to steal a semi or commandeer helicopters or whatever I have to do. We're going to save those people, right? And
well,
my
brevity.
impression is that FEMA just gets in the way constantly with that. And moreover, because it's a federal agency, a lot of local, like this fire chief that threatened to, or assistant fire chief that threatened to have a helicopter pilot arrested if they effected rescue of a man on a hillside that had been stranded there for several days. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that? Like, why would
Yeah.
you do that? That's
Well,
just
a lot
my
of those,
impression. Chat, please comment, and then of course, Clovertac, please.
a lot of those are looking for brownie points. I mean, you've got that play too. You've got the grandstanding. You've got the virtue signaling. You've got a lot of other,
Okay, it's political
playing
for
for
sure.
political
Yeah.
points that's going on. So,
Mhm.
it wouldn't surprise me if years down the road you've seen that particular fucktard, running for some kind of office or something. You know, it's
Mhm.
very, very possible, and then he can use that for brownie points for campaign coffers or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The problem is that our system of government, the way the founders envisioned it anyway, is fucking beautiful, and it
Yeah.
works even on a natural disaster level because their thought was the government that works best is the government that's closest to the people, right? So we're
Mm,
talking about your city government, your county, that sort of thing, not the fucking
sure.
federal government. And in an emergency situation like this, it's even more important because the the government, the infrastructure, the help, the boots on the ground, whatever it might be, right?
Mhm.
Not only are they for those critical needs of literally being a first responder, the first ones to respond, the first ones there, right? The things that are time sensitive, getting these people out, right? Getting them medical attention, getting them into more permanent housing, cleaning up the roads, all of this stuff, right? Repairing the bridges, like all of this shit. Okay, federal government can come in weeks later, whatever the fuck, and help. That's cool, whatever. Like, figure that shit out. That's not, there's no brevity to that situation. We've got to get in and fucking save lives. And
Mm,
that needs to be done at the immediate local fucking level for multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is the people that are closest to that trying to help know the area. They know these people.
mhm.
They know when roads are down how to get in and they can get out. Hey, we can go up around the side of this hill and come
Right,
down
and
the back
they're the
side and
people
do
that
this.
hunt that
There's a
property. They're the people that are in those woods.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could go up in the air. They don't need GPS. They could literally go up in the air in a helicopter and go, "Hey, go over
Yeah,
here."
we've got a couple of really salient points here. Mister comes in with, I think the worst is a place called Castle Rock. It's actually Chimney Rock, or something like that. Bodies are in the river. That's from cemeteries that were flooded, just like in Katrina, where the bodies have actually been exhumed, and it's a big mess, and they still haven't removed them. Well, they weren't letting people even into the town of Chimney Rock, and they've actually considered it a complete loss, which is a shame because they used to have a hill climb there, and we used to race there way back in the '90s, man, like a long time ago. I think the last time they ran Chimney Rock was like probably 95 or 96, somewhere along in there, maybe 97. But it was it's a big deal there. I see that we've got some, it's a lot of really good conversation going on in the chat. Um, and guys, if you guys want to if you guys want to call in and have a specific show or question, um, you know, uh, please feel free to do so. Mr. Boulay has the link, and I'll bring you up, and we can talk about it. Um, Damien makes a good point. People weren't even allowed to use their own excavators.
Yeah.
They weren't even allowed to use their own equipment. Like, literally, can you imagine? I can't, because I would literally laugh in their face. But can you imagine someone going to, clean down, clean off a road, or to excavate rock from or mud, so they could get out and their neighbors could get out, and being told that you can't use your own privately owned excavator or heavy equipment to do that? Can you even imagine that?
Well, they're afraid they're going to damage something. Like, it fucking matters at this point. Like,
Right. Well, who the fuck cares, man? My
yeah,
life,
yeah.
the life of my wife, the life of my kids, the life of my neighbors is worth more than a fucking road, man. I mean, this is how bad are we now? How beat down are we?
Yep.
Because I gotta
Yep.
be honest with you, I don't give a fuck. I would, and I,
Well,
I have a dim view of government anyway. So,
it's so
you know,
it's a bad situation,
sure.
right? Like, this whole thing is terrible. I'm sure that I don't wish for anyone to be in the position of the governor of that state, or any of the even the local authorities, let alone the higher ups that are quote unquote in charge of trying to facilitate and get all this stuff done. Um, I really don't. I would never want to be in those shoes, and I don't wish that on anybody
Yeah.
because it is a terrible, terrible situation. That being said, um, it is not that fucking difficult of a situation. You do what you have to fucking do to go in and get these people out.
Well, you would
After
think that it
that,
would be that
after
easy.
that, after that, who cares? Like
Yeah.
nobody is bitching about when will the roads be fixed or when will the power be
Right.
restored.
Yeah.
I
Nobody's
don't hear anybody bitching. The bitching is let's get these people are in need. We need to get our fellow Americans out of this shit. That's where people are bitching. That's
Yeah.
very simple to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's very accurate. Um, that's
I could care less about the
really
fucking
good.
roads. And
That's really
even
good.
if it was here, right? I'm not
Right.
saying this
I
because it's in
agree with
another
you
state.
100% on that. And Raging Patriot comes in with they have confirmed that the death toll will be in the hundreds to thousands of fatalities. That's pretty terrible. And some won't be found for months. It's not the deceased from the cemeteries. I think in Chimney Rock, I believe it is, but maybe not. I don't know. Chimney Rock is it's a unique little town. I really enjoyed my time there. It's terrible that it's completely been destroyed. Um, the I mean, and I don't know if it was you that made the point earlier, but I think it was maybe Kevin. A lot of these people lived very simple lives. I mean, there were a lot of them living in RVs or single wide mobile homes,
Sure.
and those things in a storm like this would have just floated right down off the side of the hill if it was flooded. Right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
would have been terrible, and so I 100% believe that the loss of life is going to be huge. And but here's my problem. If we end up with loss of life because it took us 2 weeks to get back into somewhere, and those people died of exposure and contaminated water, or well, you wouldn't starve to death in a couple of weeks, but you understand what I'm saying. If those people
Well,
die not because of the event,
water would get you. You don't know what kind of injuries are
yeah.
incurred, so then you've got issues related to that, infections and other things.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest that it's great for you and I, and most people, honestly, to talk about being prepared. And I do believe the Hill people are fairly well prepared, but they're also it's a rural area. It's depressed. I mean, it would be unusual, I think, for people to have 3 or 4 weeks of good groceries stored. Now,
And
canned
that,
goods and dry, they probably have
hmm
canned goods and maybe some canned meats and things like that. I mean, I'm sure that they probably have about a week, maybe 2 weeks worth of food, but at that, I would doubt they have more than that. And just speaking from my own experience growing up in my area, where we did have floods and we did have power outages at that when I was younger that lasted a week. I know that we always had gallon jugs of water saved.
right.
Of course, we were poor, and then of course canned goods were.
hmm
My mom's entire philosophy growing up was when we went every time we went to the store, if she had any extra money, she would buy. If she needed one can of beans, she would buy three
hmm
and put two back,
Yeah.
and just constantly stockpiling that way, a little bit at a time. But unfortunately, people get caught out, and while I'm fully willing to say that, yeah, people should be prepared, you should take personal responsibility. I have food stored. I mean, in my truck, I keep 2 weeks of those little emergency ration cubes in my truck at all times because I do stupid things, and I very well could get stuck somewhere where I would have to hike out and take several days. Um, Most people are not like that, and
Right.
but at the same time, we just have to acknowledge that not everybody's going to be that way. While I don't believe it's the government's responsibility in general to take care of those people. I believe that in an emergency, that the taxpayers deserve every single resource that can be devoted to them,
hmm
way more than the terrorist over in Lebanon, way
Well,
more than the Ukrainians, way more than anybody outside our national border. Um, there should be no expense spared on those hillbillies.
yeah. I mean, those hillbillies are probably, by and large, not paying into the system. So, they're
That's okay.
sadly they're fucking getting their money's worth right now, right?
Yeah. Well,
But then the other thing is, when did poverty stricken people become the least fucking resilient of any people on the planet? Because
well,
there was once upon a time, if you were poverty stricken, you were super resourceful, you were a fucking
mhm,
survivor. You made it
mhm.
happen and did what you had to do. And like, when did that stop? And I'll tell you when that stopped is when the government handouts
Anson Knowles.
started. Is when that fucking
Anson Knowles, you better call in, you shit talking person.
And that's
Um,
another thing that we got to wake up and realize, that we talk about, oh, these poverty stricken people, that are stranded in here. Well, they should be resourceful and resilient, you know?
yeah, I
And
agree with that.
so
But
like
do we think it's the
they're in a
poverty
position they're
stricken
in because
people?
they're dependent.
So I don't know that I would say do we, and I don't know this to be true, but I have to say that I would say that it's probably not the poverty stricken people that are having the most trouble. It's the middle of the road people, the people that get by and they pay in and they expect they just and they don't necessarily plan for this, but at the end of the day, shit happens. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. The
I'm just saying, the less you have, the more resilient and resourceful you should
Yeah,
be.
I
That's
think
all
that's
I'm
still
getting
true
at.
today.
You
I think
should,
that's still
right?
true today because I mean, I guarantee you, there's some poor bastard just had his mobile wide, slung off of a mountain, and he went down, and he's got a tarp set up over his pickup truck, and he's probably already harvested a buck out of season, and um,
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I'm
No,
not
yeah,
worried about that
totally.
guy. That guy,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that guy.
But those have become more few and far between, and that's my point.
Not in that area, I don't think.
You don't
I
think
would
so?
disagree with you in that area. I'd 100% agree with you outside of Chicago, but not in most of the state of Illinois, probably, but not in rural North Carolina.
Hmm,
I
okay.
would say, but I would, however, say that there's a growing number of people who buy houses in rural areas that don't have rural skills, and those are the people
True.
that have issues because
Well, and they also don't pay attention to their area,
they
their
don't know how.
surroundings, and the potential pitfalls and problems, right? Like, um, that may be really cool that I've got a place on the side of a mountain somewhere, right?
Yeah,
But do I want that to be my permanent residence? That could be a really cool, like, vacation place
sure.
to go hang out a few
Yeah,
weeks out of the year, whatever. But what, and it's the same as the people that have primary residences literally on the fucking beach, in a place that sees hurricanes every single year, right? It's like, how stupid is that? It's just stupid. Like, put a little more thought into, you know, where you live, and
yeah.
the potential dangers of that, and at the very least, have some type of preparedness plan, right?
Well, again, I agree with you. Um, and I personally do, and I believe that everyone should. I'm just willing to admit that there's a segment of people. So I believe that poor people probably are doing just fine. They're out there with their shotgun and their rifle and their four-wheel drive, and they don't give a shit if they get to town. They're probably getting a little concerned about their gas gauge, but other than that, they don't give a fuck. They got not, well, and they might be running a little low on kerosene for their lantern, but other than that, they don't really give a fuck.
Right.
But on the other side of that, you have people that belong in town but move to the country, and they have a garden and they have a bunch of shit that's all gone right now. Right. Well, my garden's gonna. That's my backup plan is my garden. Well, your garden is 300 feet down the mountain.
Just got washed away. Yeah.
Right, and you're not crawling down there to get it, and it's an interesting deal to um, it's an interesting thing, right? I think that um, it's an interesting thing to me because we've seen this kind of city people relocating to the rural quite a bit. And I didn't actually. This is an interesting dynamic I hadn't actually planned to talk about, but yeah, let's roll into it. Those people can't take care of themselves, right? So
Talking about that specific demographic.
Yeah, it's a specific
the rural transplants.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's transplant. I like that. Like transplant. That's a pretty good deal. But there's no there's not really a but even then, those people paid into a system that they believed would protect them, and it's not protecting them. So, they should get their money's worth, right? So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I go back to I don't know that the government is the fucking answer. Period.
Why?
So.
Well, again, I don't believe the national government is, and that's my problem with FEMA. I think your local government is. I would 100% expect my local law enforcement, if we had a flood here, I would expect them to go up and down the streets helping old people out of their homes. I would 100% expect that. I would 100%.
Yeah, they can start first with the community, right?
Right, 100%. There's no there's no other side of it. There's no other viewpoint that I can take up. If that's not going to be the case, then we can't pay taxes anymore, because that's the only reason I pay taxes. There's absolutely no other reason for me to pay taxes at all than the fact that for social services. And if we're not going to get the services that we need, then they got to go somewhere else. Or we need to spend that money elsewhere where it will help, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, FEMA, much like anything else, whether you're talking about the ATF, whether you're talking about the Department of Education, anything else, like it needs to go bye-bye anyway. There's zero need for any fucking federal bureaucracy, period. There's zero need. The states can handle all that. There's no need for any of that shit.
I mean, let's be honest here. There's zero need for a federal agency that was created out of a demand for something to be done, right? And I just, I think that Bush made a huge mistake when he created it, and I don't know that we're going.
He made a bunch, but yeah, I agree with you.
I'm sorry.
I said he made a bunch. I agree with you. Mistakes.
Well, but he was, he was pressured into that, and I think that.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. It doesn't fall squarely on his shoulders.
I think the reality is that the reality is just that he never intended. It was a foreseeable but unintended consequence of what happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Katrina happened. The entire world was demanding action, and there was only one place it could go, and that was to create a national agency, which we didn't need, and is led by and has been since its inception led by incompetent people.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been one emergency that can be said that FEMA handled adequately. Not exceptionally. I'm not looking for exceptionality. I'm not looking that they won. I'm saying they weren't even adequate, right? Like things we probably would have been better if they stayed home, right? And again, we just sent we've sent 175 billion in cash to Ukraine. We just sent 175 million to Lebanon to terrorists to fund terrorism. And we know those guys are buying guns with it. Why do we even pretend anymore? Right. So, but yet here in our own country, nothing. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Mister. Glad to see you. How are you today?
Good. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I just wanted to come up for a second, talk about how important these governors' races are in the recent
Yeah,
times.
why'd you vote for that guy, man? Why'd you vote for that guy?
I know you voted for him.
I didn't vote for him. No, but yeah, like the corruption, what I've noticed is it used to be just at the higher levels, and you know, now it just trickles down and down and down and down. And so they got this new camp,
Yeah, you're phasing out, man. I know you're
and
driving.
you know,
We didn't hear that last little bit.
oh yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now you're good. Now you're not. Yeah. Okay.
He is right with the trickle down, though. You got to,
Yeah,
Hear
you
me?
really got to be
100%.
careful with that.
I guess it's a trickle up, really, but yeah.
Well, no, I see a trickle down.
What I
effect.
mean by that is,
Uh-oh. He completely dropped.
Yeah,
So
he
with the trickle
completely
down,
dropped.
here's the thing: if you get corrupt people in higher positions, then those corrupt people are going to rig the system in order to get corrupt people in the
Mhm.
lower systems as well. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna fill the levels below them with patsies with their boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see that dynamic playing out too.
yeah, well, what I mean with Robinson, because he's the Republican candidate for North Carolina. He's going to get in, by the way, but this is an African American guy, Republican type. This is how you know it's not just on the party lines, because a guy like that is a nightmare to these people because they can't call him a racist. So
True.
and you look at what happened to Kerry Lake in Arizona. I don't know if you guys heard it. You know, when that phone call that happened. You guys hear that story or?
No, just roll me into it, man.
Yeah, I'll give you a brief, two brief examples, and then I'm just going to drop down because I'm trying to point out the fact that you know it's all related. But
Sure.
so she was a Republican candidate, and then another Republican called in and told her, and she recorded it, and you could find this on YouTube or whatever. But they called her and said, we'll bribe you to drop out of the race because on the Republican side in Arizona they don't like Trump, and so you know she was a threat, and they needed a Democrat governor in Arizona to prevent him from winning Arizona. You know, so and he said to her on the recording that I'm putting my life in danger just by telling you this. Like it was crazy. And they found in a court that they cheated to get her out of office. Like as far as like election fraud and stuff like that, not gonna make a claim. However, I would just encourage people to go look at that. And then one last point, and then I'll drop down. But you look at what happened in California with Larry Elder when they
Mhm.
recalled
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom, and you know, here's a guy who comes in, wants to do the right thing. Okay, and so now I'm going to link it all together. You could see how they're setting up that infrastructure to get away with the nonsense when, you know, they bring out Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, multiple other high-ranking Democrats to defend Newsom in a recall governor's race. Now, I know California is important because it has 55 electoral votes, but that generally doesn't happen too much. You don't see like the entire party line come out for one particular governor, and that's how you could tell it's important to them when they do that. And what's happening right now? You know, that nut job Kamala, she's in North Carolina. You know, what was it like? It's been like what, a week and a half, 2 weeks now.
No, she actually showed up
Something like
finally.
that. Anyway, yeah. It's you know it's like the the Ohio train derailment thing all over again. Nah, it's not important on my list. I'll just show up later and pretend to care. So
Well, it's only
it's,
important at what time the fucking polls tell them it's important, right? Like it's like, oh
Right.
shit, you know what? Everybody's mad. We need to get down there now because you know they had to do all their internal
that's
fucking polling first, and so they're just
that's
doing what was
exactly
right.
my point. She probably would not be down there if it wasn't for the fact that that they're in danger of losing that state to a an African American Republican governor. You know, and he's going to win. I hope he wins because I you know how I am. I talk to Grid a lot, and like half the people on the Republican side either. But I keep mentioning this to people in these chats. In my purview, the only good people are on the right. The only good people, because whether they're a puppet or they're actually in charge of something on the opposite side, they're all bad and either by default just don't know it or they are. On the other side, you have people who don't take campaign contributions like from lobbyists. There's no one like that on the left, none at all. So those are just a couple of points I wanted to make. So
Steve Easy says Roberson stands no chance here in North Carolina. He is batshit crazy.
Robinson, yeah,
Yeah.
that's who he's talking about. He's gonna win. I'm telling you, Robinson's gonna win. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay. All right. All right, man. Well, I hope you're out there driving along, singing a song, and being safe, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just flipping off people, and you know how it is in the Northeast, freaking lunatics.
Yeah.
I had an old lady give me the bird in Massachusetts because we were in bumper to bumper traffic, and she cut me off, and then she gives me the finger. I'm like, wow, lovely. So
That's awesome.
people who think New York is bad, it's not. Massachusetts, they rate themselves the top 3 worst drivers in the country. But all right, thanks for having me up. I'm gonna drop down.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I've got
All right.
$5 from the Raging Patriot. Government is not going to help you. They have failed us time after time. Many of us bled for this country, and look at how they treat veterans. You know what? That's right. He's right. Can't argue it. He's right. Good call, Raging Patriot 1776. Good call, sir. Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Very good super chat. The founding fathers will be rolling in their graves if they could. Yes, absolutely. That's true. That's very.
Shit, they'd be taking up arms. What are you talking about rolling
I
in
know.
the
That's right.
grave?
I've got a meme somewhere that says me and
Yeah.
my homies would have been it has George
Yeah.
Washington saying me and my homies would have been stacking bodies by now.
Been kitting up, baby.
They would have too. That's not even a lie. I'm actually surprised that Texas hasn't like declared whatever.
Here's the problem.
Um,
That's Civil War. Texas is without Texas. You know, I'm gonna do a Texas flex on everybody. Without Texas, the country's done. Period. It's that
Yeah.
simple. And so the rest
Well, you gotta
of
keep doing
the
the hard
rest of the
work, man.
country, the federal level by itself, and then add in all the other states that actually realize that as well,
Yeah.
come together. And I mean, it's a cocktail for disaster to even entertain secession and stuff like that. You know, as a Texan, it's a very fucking cool idea, you know, for
Mhm.
sure. But you know, from a national standpoint, yeah, it's like it'll never happen. It'll never be allowed to happen. And so,
Old Grumple Stillskin's watching me over on Twitch.
yeah, it's a
That's
Twitch
weird. I
thing.
never see the Twitch thing. Yeah, I just think we need to restore the idea of a national identity, and all of the fragmentation, especially in identity politics. It's just not serving any purpose. There's nothing we can really do about it. But
Well,
man,
that is downstream to me from society, and
sure,
the
absolutely,
problem that breeds into that, and why the whole Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, just all of this divisiveness has happened, is we've gotten to a place in society where we got to put everybody into a fucking box. And I'll give you a good example. Look at LGBTQIA plus VRW ampersand fucking parentheses, whatever the hell, right? Like, why do you need 45,000 fucking letters to just say that, like, you're gay or whatever, right? Like, why? And that's
well,
indicative of this.
why do I
The
have to
reason
know?
the reason is no, you're missing my point. You're missing me
Mhm.
completely right now.
Okay.
My point is, why your sexual preference, if your sexual preference is not um, um, heterosexual, right? Then, like, why do you have to
Yeah.
have, well, I like girls but I dress like a guy and I act like an animal, and so that's his own little letter over here, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is I'm using that as an example of how we've gotten to a point where we have to put everybody in a specific little fucking box. Like,
Right. Rather
why?
than just saying American, you've got to be dude. I didn't realize that there was such a until I went to CT's channel that what all this FBA and tethers and all of this nonsense in the black community. Right. That's
Yeah, I don't
crazy,
even
man.
know. Yeah,
The
I don't
whole
even
thing is
understand
crazy.
that.
Let me give
Yeah.
me 1 second. I want to read this stuff.
Yeah.
Raging Patriot 1776 is raging today. He says, "I'm so fucking pissed off right now. You want the truth? Watch independent channels who are in the trenches and are boots on the ground. They know the truth. Nothing on MSN because there is no narrative." So here's the thing, and he's right about that. The narrative is the narrative's interesting. And then there was something else I wanted to see here. We're gonna tie that in. Where'd it go? There we go. Let me see what we got here. And then Steve Easy, Mike Ball said to come by and check it out. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. I hope you enjoy the show. We're doing what we're doing. Are we not men out there black pilling? That's okay. Black pill spurging. That's fine. I get it. I would if I were younger, I'd probably feel the same way. I'm glad I'm not younger. Mikey Ball, I appreciate you bringing people in. It's we always like to have new people here, and I hope that everyone is actually enjoying the show. Let me. I'm gonna tie back to what we were talking about there, Clover.
Yeah.
The problem is that we haven't had a national identity for a while. Yeah, I'm having fun with you. Are we not men? I can do that. It's my show. I'm just having fun with you. Don't take it too hard. I look. I'm smiling. It's fun. We're having fun. This is a smile, I think. Anyway, I think the problem is that we constantly have to separate ourselves out. You're right. Be put in different boxes, and the government we're just a lot easier to control when we are distracted and divided. We
United we
just
stand, divided we fall, man. Right?
That's
Like,
right.
a house
Exactly right.
divided cannot stand. Our
That's right.
founders talked about that shit constantly.
Constantly they talked about it. They knew it. They absolutely knew it. Um, and and I have this whole thing about and FEMA, the subject matter of today falls right into it. And that is, if you think that we've ever had a free press, you are living in so much delusion. From the beginning,
Hmm.
the press was always biased. however, in the beginning, the bias was towards building a nation and making us strong and 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 establishing a national identity and doing things, um, maybe not always the right way, but doing things in a national interest and building a country and making us the best we can be and being great. And somewhere along the line, our politicians decided that that wasn't what they wanted anymore. And so the press stopped being about that and started being about division and all of these other things. Um,
Well, part of the reason for that is by reporting the actual news and
mhm.
leaving it at that. You do
Yeah,
not sell newspapers. You do
right,
not get subscriptions to a website in modern times, right? You do not get viewers on the Nielsen
right.
ratings or whatever the fuck. So, that's the problem. If I come on and I say, you know, a major hurricane has hit the North Carolina area. We're got reports of, massive fire lines down, massive flooding, blah 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 blah, and then I move on to the next story, right? That's not going to be nearly as good as I come on and I go and I'm gonna put a right slant on this and show you how it's neither fucking side, it's both, right? That's the problem.
Yeah,
Or I come on and I go, major hurricanes hit the North Carolina, breaking news, major hurricanes hit the North Carolina area. FEMA's screwing up all kinds of shit and leaving people to die and blah 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 blah, and they're threatening
yeah,
to
absolutely.
arrest first responders. Okay, which one of those is going to whip up people and get more views and get more subscriptions and whatever, right? And so then you look back and you go, okay, if both sides do this, right? If it's this is just a this is a it's not doesn't even have to do with politics or parties, right? This is a
Mhm.
tactic that can be applied to business or any fucking thing, right? It's a
Yeah,
well-known tactic that people
right.
fall for over and over and over and over again. And the problem to me is that people fall for it. That's why when you talk about the drama a lot. Y'all go up on these drama tirades over here a
Mhm.
lot with this creator or that creator. And if
Mhm.
the fucking viewers out there would get off the drama train and not fucking care about the fucking drama, then that shit would go away. And the same
Yeah.
thing happens with our mainstream media.
Well, it's
If
always
people
been
would
that
get
way.
off of it, it would go away.
Always been.
What's happened is it's shifted now to where, oh, we don't trust mainstream media, so we're going to go to the private sources or the whatever, right? The Grid One channel or the whoever.
Mhm.
And what the viewers don't realize is they're still addicted to the fucking drama, and they're going to online sources that are doing the same fucking thing as the mainstream media. They're just
Yeah.
doing it. They're just coming at it from a different angle. That's the only difference. It's the only
Well,
difference.
and a lot of times they're more interested in the drama than the news, right? So,
No,
that's why I
100%.
really kind of I kind of, it's not something I really try and present as in a dramatic.
Well, it's the circus, right? Bread
Yeah.
and circuses.
Yeah.
So that's the
Raging
circus.
Patriot 1776. Once again, he says, "I'm sorry, Grid One, for cussing and spurging, dude. You're cool, but if you see what's going on in those areas hit by Helene, I've been watching it closely. You'd be raging too. Every day I get closer to the movie falling down. Michael
Uh,
Douglas was
I know.
key in that. That was key. Excellent, excellent
Great movie for those
comment
that haven't
there, man.
seen it.
Very
Go
good
watch it.
comment. And so
Just had
we
enough.
got a lot of really good comments out in the chat. One of the things I think that people don't or they fail to realize, they at some point I always hear this, well, the media used to be news, it used to be whatever, but it was always biased. It's always been biased. It The media is there to sell papers or sell books or whatever it is. So it does present things in a way that the media machine believes that you want to hear it and will find interesting and will buy it and read it. It used to be that they didn't cater to drama; they catered to your interest. They catered to making you want to know more, and want to find out about things, right?
She
And
like to know more.
Oh yeah, would you like to know more? Over the years, it's just become about drama. It's and the facts matter less and less and less.
Well, once upon a
And
time, it was all facts, right? Like it was no.
I don't think so. And I did a lot of research on this once because I did a episode on the media, and you can go as far back as you want to go, and it's always been biased. Somebody always has to pay for it, right?
Well,
And there's
bias
never
is a human element. So I mean, it
yeah,
makes sense.
it's always been somebody had to pay for it. But originally, you can say that the newspapers of the time had a vested interest in more or less educating people about what was going on around them because and they knew that they could steer things in different directions based on the narrative. You know, we assign nobility to that may or may not may not be um, reliably um, noble or inherently noble,
Mm.
but we can do that. And for a long time, newspapers promoted patriotism and the American way. I know you've heard that before. It's the American way. They promoted nationalism. They promoted a sense of pride, and it was honestly it was that way for a very long time. I would say from about 1900, late 1800s, all the way up to uh, probably about the 1950s.
Well,
The
they definitely
American
needed
way.
it. They definitely needed all of that for the Industrial Revolution, right?
Right, right. And there was definitely there was not just a need for it, but there was a clamoring for it. People wanted that, right? They'd all and it's interesting because when you look back at the Italians and the Persians and all of the Middle Europeans that came to the U.S., the Russians, the Serbians, the Croats, the
Hmm.
all of these people that came to the U.S. and blended in the melting pot,
Mm.
they blended into the melting pot and they became American. They came out of Ellis Island an American, and they were proud of that. They were like, okay, I've left all of this turmoil behind in my home country, and now I'm an American. And
Yeah.
America is the land of the free, home of the brave, the the grantor of opportunities never considered before. And we've allowed that to be co-opted and so that our normal citizens are beat down. And even as beat down as our citizenry is, we still want to help the rest of the world. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And I made this point the other day. Can you name one country that's ever come to the defense of the United States of America? No, because we always go to theirs.
Yeah.
Right? We always go to theirs.
Yeah, but then that
We are the end result of what everybody wants to be, but um, we've got to the point where
we've got to a point that we've got to take care of ourselves because
actually Bujakon's right.
if
France
you
and England
don't
in the Civil War did, but
if you don't take well they had ulterior
they have
motives,
a
I think.
financial
They had
motivation to
or
do that.
agenda. They had an agenda.
They
Let's
were
just say
getting
that
paid.
they had an agenda. Um, the and this is a human truth. I mean, for every individual out there, and it's kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. That
Screw the rest of
if you don't take care of yourself, you're
it. Mhm.
not. If you don't help yourself, you're not going to be able to help somebody else, right? And the problem that we face as a country that I think that I see is that we're at a point that we've got to stop and we've got to help ourselves. We're depleted.
Mhm.
We need to stop and we need to fucking help ourselves, right? And
Yeah,
and by
absolutely.
that I mean, our people, we need to fix some of the problems that we have. We have socioeconomic problems.
Mhm.
We have, the rampant divisiveness with the fucking putting people in all kinds of weird ass boxes, and we've got to get a handle on all of that shit. And then at that point, I'm fine if we want to go out and continue to help some other countries and do something. Fine, so be it. Like I don't necessarily have an issue with that. But we got to get shit right here first. We got to get our house clean first. It's filthy.
Yeah, 100%. I think that that's ridiculously accurate thing to say. I think that I think that
Because isn't it a little, I don't know what the word would be, right? And I don't want
Mhm.
to say ironic because that's not the word, or condescending. I don't know. But isn't it weird that we're going to go out and be the policeman, the savior, the whatever you want to choose to call it of the world when we're as fucked up as we are right now? That's just weird to me.
It is weird. So let me give you something else that's really weird. So if you watch the news, you will see a never-ending stream and supply of how you know white Americans attacked Mexican Americans in some neighborhood somewhere, or all of this other um, Mikey Ball. I normally go another hour. I am considering shortening it because we've burned through. But you are welcome to come in. Get the link from Mr. Boulay. Um, but the we're the press purposefully, and this is not a conspiracy. The press purposefully wants to keep people divided. It's not an American versus American when you hear about crime or neighborhoods fighting or any of this other stuff, and it's done that way purposefully so that newcomers never seem to fit in, right? Like when you if you were a Chinese person in Chinatown in the 1960s, you were an American. You were an American.
Yeah.
You weren't a Chinese American. You weren't whatever. I mean, you may have referred to yourself as that, but you were an American. Um,
Well, there's a time and a place to get down into some specifics. I
sure,
mean,
sure,
there's
but
but
you
for the
were
most
first an
part,
American,
who
right?
cares? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
or you became an American. You came here, you became an American. You're an American.
Yeah.
Our press, since about the mid 1960s, has really, really, really pushed the agenda that you know Mexicans were coming here as invaders, right? Um, Chinese are coming here as invaders. We're being invaded by all of these other people when we were all, most of us came here as invaders ourselves, which is totally fine. I don't have any problem with people who come here legally at all. I really, my wife came here legally. Obviously, I don't have any problem with
So,
it.
hmm
And she considers herself an American. She's an American citizen, so whatever.
well, yeah.
But at the end of the day, they have to continue this division so that when a politician goes to campaign, they can campaign on Latino American issues. They can Black American issues and all of these segregated, divisive
Yeah.
strategies.
Yeah.
And it's wrong.
Well, and
Because
in
I don't have
government,
anything against Latino people. I've had many of them work for me. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, they were some of the best workers I ever had. So it's just really bad. But yet
well,
it is exactly how our press operates, and they know what they're doing. This is literally, you can literally track the articles and read what they say, and they intentionally sow hate and discontent so that there's never peace in our country.
yeah. Well, two things when you were talking about that come to mind. Um, the first, which is more of a tangent, so I'll get it out of the way real quick,
Sure.
is government and politicians specifically never want to fix a fucking problem.
That's true.
Because if they ever fix a problem, it's self-defeating for their reelection purposes. So whether that is, has to do with the welfare system, whether it has to do with, abortion rights, whether that has to do with, violence, to a whatever,
Sure.
right? On either side, they never want to fix the issue because that gives them one less thing they can stump on the next election cycle. So you got to understand that. which is annoying as shit. The next thing has to do again with the government, and it's to what you're talking about, the melting pot. Once upon a time, people could come into this country from wherever in the fucking world, right? Take part in the American experiment, experience the American dream because of the liberty and the freedom that they had here, right? And once they were able to experience that, right? Then there was that sense of nationalism, I'm an American mentality, right? I think what you've got going on now is our fucking government is so bloated and in the goddamn way, right? That
Yeah,
it's stifling that American dream. It's
it
stifling
is.
people, not just people coming in from elsewhere, but people born and raised in this fucking country.
Yeah.
It's stifling the American dream for those people. And that stifling of the American dream is what is keeping people from realizing that nationalism.
You know, that's 100% correct. And they have to stifle the American dream, because if everybody has the American dream, they don't care about foreign wars anymore. They don't care about the bad news in the press. You can't manipulate them. So they have to stifle that American dream and feel like that it's being kept out of their reach.
Yep.
And to keep that control, to keep that anger, to keep all of that just really in place, right? Welcome, Mikey Balls.
What's
How you-
up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. I've never used this program before. I'm a StreamYard
Yeah, everybody
snob.
likes StreamYard.
Yeah. I've
This
become a
allows
snob.
me to do the TTS, although no one's done one today. I guess I should plug that at the beginning of the show.
You
but
definitely
I always
should.
forget. Send me money, please. There we go. I just plugged it.
Nice.
Grid needs gun money.
I do.
Right.
I really do. I really need
Yep.
some gun money.
Yeah,
but
this is a great topic of discussion. I really enjoyed. I mean, hence why I sent some of my guys in here too, because I was
Sure.
like, man, this is totally up my alley. I love discussing stuff that most people just aren't willing to do, or a lot of people don't seek the truth in a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? And if I wasn't talking about it, most of my audience wouldn't even know it. You know, wouldn't know that information just because they're not necessarily searching for that, yearning for that like nonstop truth. Like I'm someone that's addicted to finding out the truth, you know? And so that's why I really resonate with your guys' channels, always have.
Well, I appreciate it. I really try to at least attempt to understand the truth. And look, I get it wrong sometimes. I don't know anybody that doesn't get it wrong, but
Right.
but at the end of the day, I try, and I think that I would rather attempt to know the truth and be wrong than not give a shit and be right all the time.
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. And I'm
search
also
is the
willing
biggest-
to admit when I'm wrong too. That's also something like,
Yeah.
if you're going to be breaking news, especially something like that, I'm like that's what I do daily.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up once in a while. You're breaking news. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you have to be willing to come out there and be like, yo guys, I messed up, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, anytime you're talking about the truth, like to me, the search for the truth is more important to me than, you know, necessarily finding the truth.
I agree.
Right? Because that leads you down so many rabbit holes. It opens up so many more avenues of learning things and figuring things out. And I think that people oftentimes get they get blinded by the prize, I guess is the way to put it. They get so blinded with, you know, the end game that I hate to use the whole whatever, you know, whole thing of the journey, but sometimes it's about that, you know.
Yeah, I think that I think it's interesting because in today's modern society, we have access to so much information. The problem is that most people don't bother to even attempt to vet the information and say, is this the real thing? What am I being lied to? Is it mostly true, but also a little lie? And then the thing is that once they have that factoid in their head, they will die on that hill.
Yes.
They will die on the hill, and they will not back down. They will not say, you know what, I was wrong. I
It's a
got
lost art.
bad information. And you know, that's one of the things that I really try hard, because I know I'm susceptible to that. I really try hard to, if I make a mistake, if I get some bad information, and I tell people all the time, don't believe what I say, fact check me. I
Always,
can be
yep.
wrong. I'm more than likely wrong, you know, like why
Knowing the whole time they're not going to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
That's
hope
true
they,
too.
I
But
hope
you
that they
hope
do it.
you hope they do. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
you can do is cover your ass and tell people they need to.
I got some
You know, that's
Freedom
all you
Seed
can do.
money from the Smoking Patriot. Thank you, sir. I need always happy to
That'll
go
buy
find
you
more
like
ammunition.
We're
That'll buy
getting
you
some gun money right
one,
now.
Yeah.
That'll buy you like
Yeah.
one whole round right there, Grid. One whole
I
round.
know. Well,
Yeah, that is one round right there.
right today it is. I believe that's true. But we'll work our way up to a case.
Make it count.
And we'll make it.
That's all you can do.
Well, you know, the rumor is I only need one.
You
Right.
should. Yeah, you should.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, so what, Mikey? How are you doing today, buddy? How's
I'm doing good,
life?
man. I'm doing good. It's been you know, this morning was kind of hectic with JD Vance and stuff like that. So that was kind of like what I was covering in the news and stuff. But aside from that, it's just been a relaxing, enjoyable day. Actually, I saw that you were going to go on the live stream, and I was like, oh, okay. I set the set for reminder or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always something that I look forward to, like hanging out, just watching. And it wasn't up until real recent. I've been watching you guys for a long time actually, but I just never really got involved in the chat. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's common for a lot of guys. I think I actually know that the
I have
demographics.
low chat count, but I'll have a high
Yes.
watch count. Yeah.
Yep. And that's usually a thing. So you'll, like, the normal demographic numbers or whatever is like 80% of your audience will never put a comment in the live chat. And I was like, wow, I was mind blown by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like, and it goes even further, that even something like, typically, especially if you look at larger channels, something like 90+% of people that watch your shit will never even subscribe.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I get like 60 or 70%.
You have to do call to actions nonstop. Like, that's what I have to do, like, multiple times throughout my stream, multiple times.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you want that number high, right? You want a high number of people watching that are not subscribed. Otherwise, how are you ever going to grow your subscribers?
That's true.
So it's not a bad thing. I'm just pointing that out, that if you're a creator, you
Yeah.
see that, you think, oh shit, 90-something% of people watching ain't subscribed. Yes, Mike's right. Do some call to actions, but don't freak out about it too much.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what's your viewpoint on the debacle in North Carolina?
Honestly, I don't have, are you regarding like the whole like race, or are you talking about what's happening with
FEMA and the destruction of the
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's devastating.
Hey, real quick
ahead.
before Mike gets into it, I'm gonna jump down and
Okay.
let you guys chop it out.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me up, Grid. See y'all later.
All right, Clover. See ya.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for
so it's just been I don't know, man. Like, I'm watching it from afar, and it's kind of just been a huge slap in the face to me, like to everyone that's been involved. I think us as Americans, I think that's what I'm getting at, is we're all involved one way or another. We're Americans at the end of the day, and if you're not pissed off at the situation, like, we're sending billions overseas, but we're giving $750 over to our people, our own guys, our own people that were actually devastated. And I'm sure they'll have a ton of money left over from that $750 from their home restorations after they get all their cars fixed or brand new. I'm sure they got tons of money left over from it,
Yeah, it's actually a real slap in the face, to be honest. And I think it's an interesting dynamic, whatever. Mod, spam Clover Tax channel out in the chat. He's a super cool dude, and all of you guys need to go watch his stuff, because it's gun stuff, and gun stuff is the best stuff.
Absolutely. I love me some gun stuff.
Yeah. So I think I find the level of ineptitude very interesting right now. And so right after, after Katrina and FEMA was formed or reformed, I guess, because I guess it had existed, but they kind of modified it and gave it more authority and gave it more weight and more resources. Um, it's just been absolutely terrible the entire time. Are we not men? I think in Maui they only gave them $450. I think it was 400.
Wow.
Yeah, I could be wrong though. Somebody fact check me because I think
Unreal.
But we have to wonder, we really have to wonder what is going on. I mean, we have record level of taxation, man.
Mm-hmm.
We have a
No
record
kidding.
level of money going into our government.
Yep. Yeah, no, something that you just said right there was, prior to my whole incident and what led me to do what I do now, I was making decent money, but not the money that you would, think for somebody that was taxed at 47%. So this is somebody that is, theoretically single, at the time, no kids, you know what I mean? And I'm paying 47% of my check is being taxed, right?
Sure.
And so it's being taxed like 3 times after that too, you know what I mean? So
Right.
all I ever did was feel like all I'm doing is paying into the system that is going to give nothing back every single time I needed it.
And here's the thing, man, like, and this is a shitty road to go down, like right as I'm trying to wind the show down.
Yeah, totally. I'll allow
I'm
that
going to
too.
do it anyway. And then I'll just come back, on Thursday when I do because I do the shows. I don't do a show Tuesday at all, and I do Wednesday night. So
Okay,
but,
right on.
when I come back on Thursday, maybe I'll pick it back up. But here's the thing. You hear about all these countries that have like super high tax rates, and the leftists are always like, well, Norway, they have like 60% taxes and they're fine. They have all of their social programs and all their needs met. And I'm like, yeah, because you know why? Because they don't have a standing military. They use ours. You know why? Because they don't worry about shipping on the high seas and providing security, because we do that. We are the world police. And so whether we want to be or not, and by the way, I vote not. I believe that we should be isolationist and we ought to build the wall and tell the world to go fuck itself and just see what happens and just watch it burn and then pick up the pieces later. That's just my opinion. I'm one person. It's okay. It was 700. Are we not men? So the guys in North Carolina are getting an extra $50.
Woohoo.
It's the hurricane.
I'm glad they're saving lives.
Yeah. The hurricane rider.
Unreal.
So when we look at all of this stuff, man, and all of the taxes that we pay, and you're right, the average person, you're not just, and I don't really want to go down the whole thing with taxes, but the average person pays income tax, and then they go pay sales tax on everything they buy.
Yep.
Then they pay if you own a business, you pay use tax. If you own a house, you pay property tax. If you drive a car, you pay road tax and wheel tax, and then you have to license it, which is not technically a tax, but it's a tax. And literally, by the time it's all said and done, the average human in the United States of America with a reasonable job is going to pay about 60% of their income in taxes.
That's so
and I
crazy.
don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, it doesn't fucking matter. Not even a little bit. Not even.
You're right. And you got to remember also in those smaller, countries, that you do see more of maybe the socialist, ideologies and stuff like that, such as, Sweden or whatever the case is, right? Or Switzerland, whatever it is. But if you look at it as a whole, I mean, they're like the size of New Jersey. You know what I mean? It's like, I've never seen a big such social work on something so big as the United States, with the population that we have too.
Sure.
I think it goes through too many hands, and I think naturally people are greedy and will do the craziest, most degenerate shit in order to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so what it's really done is the people in the cities have figured out that they can rob the people in the rural areas, and the rural people can't do anything about it.
Right. I'm part of those people actually.
So when you have like, just for example, you don't see these foreign nationals moving out to the middle of fucking nowhere, Nebraska. Do you know
Right.
why?
No.
There's nothing out there. And there's no free services, right? You
True.
move to a town in Nebraska, yeah, okay, they're going to put up with you for a couple of weeks, but then it's going to be like, hey, you need to get a job.
Right.
Oh, where's your housing authority? Well, we don't have one of those.
Totally.
We
Totally.
don't have one of those. Or where's your Section 8 office? Well, it's 4 hours away.
Yep.
In an actual city. So one of the reasons why I think that it's tough in America is because and what we're seeing is that exactly what you're seeing in North Carolina, right? So the people that actually pay taxes and the people that are involved in all of that and really generally don't need any help, they're rural people that live out in the woods or out on the plains or out in Texas grassland, so
Makes
where
sense.
it's 2 hours to the nearest store, right? Like if you can walk to the supermarket, you're probably using more of my taxes than I am.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I
Just
gotta agree with that.
right. Like if I have to drive, and I only have to drive maybe 10 minutes to a supermarket from where I am at now, but if I'm at another property I own, it's 30 minutes to the supermarket, dude.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. I'm 20 minutes from town, so
and so
I
I
got
would
that
use,
little bit.
yeah,
You
I
know.
use no resources, right? But the guy that can walk 10 minutes to the supermarket, he's going to have all of those resources available to him, and he's going to use them. And that's a real thing, man. That's a real, and that's just a position I've taken and I've noticed over time. I don't think anyone really talks about it, but you just can't even imagine, how bad it is here. And yeah, rich people always say it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, because that is true. Vengeful truther, it's true, because you're gonna get fucked the same either way, right? Although I guess technically you don't have to. Are we not men? I don't think that number's correct, but they can't own 100% of single family homes because I'm not selling mine.
Yeah.
I think that's funny though. I don't have a problem with BlackRock.
Honestly, they're so demonized. And here's my stance, real quick, because I know you're rapping,
Sure,
is that if you were making money and you had stock in BlackRock, you wouldn't hate them so much. You know what I mean? It's all usually it's what is it doing for me, kind of ordeal. And so honestly, it's a capitalist state. I don't see what's wrong with them doing with. I mean, some of their practices I'm not going to agree with, of course. You know what I mean? Of course, what they do is absolutely absurd. But I kind of just take it as a viewpoint as a capitalist.
Yeah. So I own part of a real estate hedge fund.
There you go. Yep.
Just put that out there. BlackRock doesn't own actually any real estate. BlackRock is a holding company who owns investments in companies that do. And those companies currently are American Tower Corporation, Equinix, Prologis, Avalon Bay Communities, Welltower, Extra Space Storage, which is not residential, VICI Properties, which I believe is also not residential, and Mid-America Apartment Communities. And total of that is not very much. They also own 6.7% of the company America Homes for Rent, which is, if I recall, I think they may own Progress and America Homes for Rent. I don't know though, because that's a number. It's not a shell game. You need to learn how corporations work. But then they only own 77% of American Tower. I don't know what that is. Most of these sound like commercial real estate companies, and they never own more. And it's a really good investment because they never own more than 10% of any company.
Wow.
Any one company. So, BlackRock, you guys don't actually understand how brilliant a hedge fund BlackRock is. So BlackRock, so that's not a lot of real estate, but it is still probably $1 trillion under management invested in real estate. And so BlackRock was able to show year before last, I think it was $7 trillion. No, pardon me, $7 trillion in income off real estate, or total income. Maybe it wasn't just real estate. They lost $1.3 trillion in real estate investments.
Damn. That's hefty.
They made money 3 times on that, and it was fucking beautiful the way they did it. And if I could do it, I would have done it too. BlackRock does not own any houses. They do not own anything at all. But
they don't own farmland. They don't own any of that stuff. It's also common misconception.
Yeah. Also, the largest company of homes that they own property in is American Homes for Rent. They only own 59,000 homes in the U.S. That's it. That's all they own. So
interesting.
BlackRock became famous for being that is Blackwater.
Right.
Blackwater and BlackRock are 2 entirely different companies.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put my hat on here. Blackwater
looking stellar there.
Blackwater has nothing to do with BlackRock. So, yeah, that's not how that does anything. BlackRock is currently owned by Phalanx, I think, something like that. They've been sold like 3 times. Just, in the interest of accuracy. So, but I actually have a real estate hedge fund. We have, we're going to end up with probably, I don't know what you're talking about technical loopholes. If they own 6.7%, that means they own dick. Do you not understand how percentages work?
Yep.
Like, if I own 6.7% of Apple, do I own Apple?
Right.
I mean,
may own a little portion.
I mean, 6.7% probably be controlling right now.
Oh, it's humongous.
That'd be a lot.
In an actual control aspect of like a mega company like that, of course. Yeah. But yeah, if 6% of any company, I would be stoked on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sounds good.
Arthur Dye says BlackRock has no desire to own a massive percentage of all housing or have greater than 10% of companies because they want to diversify. Yeah, exactly. But you guys don't understand how hedge funds work. They buy a little bit of every damn thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everything.
Smart.
And then it doesn't matter. Let the real estate market crumble.
Right. You're still making money. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So it's been great for your portfolio. Yeah, well, I mean, it would be. BlackRock is very well run. I mean, they're very smart people that are running that company.
Yeah.
They get a lot of hate, but it's all bullshit.
Well, I mean, that happens on top of anything
out there to hate. BlackRock just doesn't happen to be one of them.
Anybody that's going to be the top of anything is going to be the most, under scrutiny position.
Yeah, BlackRock and Vanguard are 2 I mean, they're just really, really big.
Well, I mean, BlackRock owns Vanguard, so
does BlackRock own Vanguard now?
Yeah,
I didn't think that went through. I thought that was denied.
And maybe it was. I mean, this was talk like probably I remember like 2 years ago that was like an ordeal, and then I believe that ended up pulling through like last year or something like that. But I could be wrong.
It could be. I'm not fascinated with them, so I don't pay a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But but I so just, I mean, I'll be honest. I literally own my wife and I and several other partners own a real estate, for lack of a better term, hedge fund that we buy real estate. The fund buys real estate and pays us out.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ideal. One day I'll be there. You guys, I'll be there one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, and like the thing is there's always opportunities. If you look around and, you just like, I know of a couple of, there's always an opportunity for somebody that's got, 50 grand liquid that they can risk, or
Right.
whatever. You could literally, you could own a piece of BlackRock today. It wouldn't even be that expensive. And then you just keep going on.
Right.
So, convinced I work for BlackRock now? No, I don't work for anybody.
That's awesome.
For me.
There's nothing more powerful than that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do. I have a meager hedge fund. We'll probably end up with, I think we'll probably end up with like 50 or 60 houses under control.
Damn. That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot of property.
It is a lot of property, but I mean, that's where we'll end up. That's probably 5 years out.
Still though, that's incredible.
Yeah. Well, 10 deals a year is about the most that I would want to do, right? Like,
Yeah,
you guys
I mean,
have to
even
understand
that.
how I'd say most people just can't get over how do you get started and how do you manage it and how do you make things work. And like, there's all of this nonsense that you get with the red pillars and some, or not the red pill adjacent guys that sell programs.
Yeah.
And they're they'll talk about not, like, well, your BRRR bullshit, which is, buy, renovate, refinance, and rent,
Right.
and repeat. And that's not, I mean, it's really not.
It sounds good on paper.
It sounds good on paper, but if there's hiccups, and there's always hiccups, if you don't have the cash to float 6 months, right, then you're in trouble.
No kidding.
Like I've been very lucky the past few years. I've got 3 properties that I rent currently in near me. That's one of the reasons why we decided to do the hedge fund, because we're gonna, we have a starting point. We're going to go forward with it, and I know what I'm getting into. But this was the first year where I've really had any real repairs. And I mean, dude, it's like $5,000 every month. Just just like, oh, you need new air conditioning system. That's $6,000. We need to do I've got to redo all of the piping, all the water pipes in one house, because it was built originally with some stuff. And there's actually a class action lawsuit against it. But until the lawsuit's decided, it comes out of my pocket, bro.
That's crazy.
That's gonna be $4,000, so it's like every time and if you don't have that money liquid, Glenn, I sent you a link if you want to pop up, bro. If you're not liquid, man, and you can't, or you just don't have that set up, you're going to be screwed. You're just screwed.
Absolutely.
And so but this was not the best year for that. On the other side of that coin, I have, like, my lake house, which we didn't intend to rent at all, has rented for the last almost 8 months at double what the mortgage is. So I've effectively paid the mortgage for the year with 6 months.
6 months. Yeah, you're stoked on that. But that's a rarity, I'm sure. I'm sure that's an outlier.
I find that a lot of people never think outside of the box, and so they fuck themselves pretty hardcore. And like, one of the things I do is I like to work with insurance companies, because most people don't like short-term rentals, but I don't have any problem with it. And so if the insurance company has somebody whose house is flooded, or there are fires, and we get a lot of fires here, houses that are burned, and their house is going to take 6 or 8 months to be rebuilt, they gotta stay somewhere. And I'm the guy. I almost always have a property available, and I'll put them in it. And the rent, it's always more rent than I would normally get, and I always had like a $500 a month kicker on top.
Is that
of it.
like a month-to-month basis?
Yeah, I do. They usually I won't do anything less than 6 usually.
Oh, okay.
And what
Okay.
they'll do is they'll do a 6 month with a payout clause,
Mm.
so that if the house somehow gets done in 3 months, they'll pay me an extra month's rent to get out.
Okay,
And,
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's why I work with the insurance companies easy, because the insurance company A is paying the rent, so I know the check's going to get there the
Yep.
same day every month, and they're responsible for all of the damage.
Yeah, it's way more reliable. And I was about to
It's
say,
absolutely the best deal going in short-term rentals.
the whole ordeal that you were talking about, like
Mhm.
with it sounds good on paper kind of thing. Like if anybody that owns property or manages any type of property, just go try to collect rent.
Right.
Go see it. Go see how easy that shit is, especially in this economy when people and they're giving you the biggest sob story in the entire world. Their baby hasn't ate in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like they'll trust me. It's way more difficult than you think.
Hardwire's like Blackwater is now known as Academia. That's right. I remember that. It was Phalanx and then it was Academy. And then is the largest PMC in the world. That's true. They still are. They went nowhere, boys. And and now you're on a list. I was already on all the lists. It didn't matter. But
yep.
But he's like, I'm on a list for researching that. That's funny.
Absolutely.
Now you're on all the lists. Glenn, are you not coming up? I saw you out there. But yeah, I mean, it's a. I've had probably once a year I'll get an insurance, what I call an insurance job, and that's where they'll call up, and they usually call up right as I'm in the middle of finishing a property or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I got it, and we'll put them in it, and it's been great so far. And they don't care. They don't care what the cost is. They don't negotiate.
No,
they're just like,
Here.
as long as they have enough money in their allotment, because the way it works is that if you have your insurance will say how you'll have and this is something everybody should check out on your housing insurance, because it can take a long time to rebuild a house. So if your house has to be rebuilt, you need to know how long and how much money that you have available to cover that. So in my area, most people only have $25,000 or $30,000 worth of coverage for housing if their house has to be rebuilt. Well, at $2,200 or $2,400 a month, that's a year, right?
Right.
But if you're doing a short-term rental where you're only going to be out of the house for 6 months, or you think you are, then that could be $3,000 a month or more. And now all of a sudden the margin is really narrow on how much money you have in that fund. How much coverage you have versus what you may have to spend. And actually the girl that's in my lake house right now, she's in that situation because her house won't be done until I think the 22nd or whatever. And so there's no more money in her insurance account. The insurance isn't going to pay out any more money for rent. So she's having to pay me out of pocket to cover that gap. And so that's a problem for her.
Wow.
But again, it was literally double because they booked a completely furnished lake house. It was instead of being $2,100 or $2,200 a month, it was $5,300 a month
because everything's furnished, right?
Everything's furnished.
Yeah,
everything. So
crazy.
So. But yeah, I'm not a slumlord, but I'm not afraid of being one if I have to be.
No, you got to get paid, just like the banks got to get paid, because they're not going to give any leniency on you.
I used to tell people that all the time in my shop. It's one of the things where you ever notice how people walk in and they're like, "Hey man, can you cut me a deal?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, cool." Do you take if your boss comes to you and says, "Hey man, it seems like a really easy job. How about instead of paying you 20 an hour, I pay you 14?" How about
right.
that? or hey, instead of paying you for 40 hours this week, I feel like it's just a really easy week. You've been sitting at your desk a lot. How about I pay you for 20 hours?
Right.
Like that's exactly what you're asking me to do, dickhead.
It is. It is. And actually, true friends and people that actually are supporting you, they will buy the the sticker price for whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, you know, I've been in multiple bands where I've toured and blah 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 and stuff, and so I've played many, you know, shows and stuff like that, and so I get offered all the time to like go support a show and hang out or whatever. And they're always surprised when I show up and I buy my ticket at the door when I'm on a list. And I'm like, dude, I don't care about none of that, because the truth is I'm here to support the band, you know? And so just like anything else, like it's kind of like when you're in a motorcycle club, what's the best way to support a motorcycle club? Go and support the bar. Like that's like the easiest thing to figure out. But it's weird how people don't figure it out.
Patriot has the exact reaction. I tell my boss to go fuck himself and let the owners know as well. And again, that's exactly what I tell my customers. I'm like, you want me to give you a discount? Yeah, I got you a discount. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
You don't have to pay anything because I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn Lawrence says real friends pay full price. They don't
absolutely.
Have to pay discounts. That's absolutely true.
Absolutely.
Steve Easy's talking about apartment buildings. Dude, everybody I know that's gotten into apartment buildings has lost their ass. And I refuse to deal with multi unit buildings. I would probably get into duplexes. That seems pretty safe, but single family is my bread and butter, bro.
Yeah, I think that's
my bread and butter.
That's the way to go.
Way less damage. My my loans are easier to get. Everything
better rates. Everything.
I don't have to freak out every time I get 3 units down. You know, like if I have a house that's sitting empty for a month, it's okay. Yeah,
it's not the end of the world compared to 4 empty units.
Yeah, apartment buildings seem like. I mean, I get it. I've watched all the Grant Cardone videos and buying an 8-plex for $3 million and how great that is, and versus buying a single family home for $1 million.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I just think the problem is the biggest thing I can't get past is the commercial loan that you have to have and the terms of that commercial loan. And what a lot of people don't realize is that to get it down to where you can actually make the payment, keep up the property, pay your apartment manager, all of that nonsense, by the time you get the payment down to that, you end up with a pretty big balloon at the end.
Yeah.
And so, like I say, it's a commercial loan. So let's say you're paying $3 million for this property and you don't want to go, and they're not going to let you go 30 on it. So you're going to do it 15 or 20. And so your monthly nuts like $7-8 grand on that. And you get used to that. And but your rent is barely enough to cover the mortgage, your property manager, which you're probably going to need an on-site apartment property manager for an apartment complex, which if you're lucky, all that you just give them free rent and they do a decent job. But usually my experience has been you have to give them free rent. You have to let them live there for free. Plus you got to pay them like $500 a week or something to get anything out of them.
Oh, damn. So you got to pay for all the resources like water, your electrical, all that stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to pay for water and all that shit, but
damn,
but water, but not electricity. But anyway, so even if you do all of that, and your maintenance, and by the time you do that, you maybe make a few bucks a month, right? Maybe you're so let's say you have 8 units, $2 grand a month. That's pretty simple, right?
So you're not becoming a millionaire overnight?
No, you don't become a millionaire overnight. So let's say if your nut is 7, you make 16, and you get all of this other stuff knocked out. Let's say every month you pocket $5 grand a month out of that unit. And that's like, I'm being super generous, but let's say you pocket $5 grand a month. That's cool. And, and you don't have to replace an AC unit every few months or whatever. If you go out let's say that at the 5-year mark, the bank because the other thing about apartment complexes, my understanding in most states, the banks are going to require you to have those reappraised every so often. Let's say that your next appraisal, instead of being worth $3 million, it's worth $2.5.
Yep.
Which is actually an exact situation people are in right now.
Commercial, especially, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a commercial loan. So now instead of $7,000 a month, they want, they want whatever. And what they'll do a lot of times, if you're not already in one, okay, cool, Joe Mobley. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get into a business school thing here, but this is interesting to me.
Me too.
So look, I'm making up numbers here. So if I'm wrong, don't fuck with me about it.
Right. Yeah. You're doing all hypotheticals off the top of your head.
Example, right?
Right.
So what happens is that you're making what you consider a reasonable amount, and in theory, you're building equity into this building, which apartment complexes rarely ever build equity. If you buy it for $3 million and you can sell it for $3 million, that's great. Like that's your best fucking day ever.
Interesting.
And but on the outside of it, let's say that you have a 10-year loan. Well, it's not a 10-year loan; it's a 7-year loan, and your 7th year, it's got a bubble.
And the bubble.
The bubble hits, and now your payment goes from $7,000 a month to $10,000 a month.
If not more,
bro, or more. It could double. A lot of times they double.
It's terrible.
You are fucked. You are absolutely fucked.
I know people when they hit the bubble, that's obviously when they sell. You know what I mean? They're like, man, I can't even do anything with it. I got to sell it. I can't even hold it.
Let's see. Yeah, my OF is only firearms. That's true. I have a lot of those. Hardwire 1%er says you can't get business loan for real estate if owning places is your business. So here's how that's supposed to work. It does not currently work this way because of Biden, but if Trump gets back in, it will go back to working the right way. Currently, the way it works is that for single family residential, you can, in most places, you can go buy a house, and you can, a lot of times the banks won't even, or they might now, but they 2 years ago, they weren't even looking at your income. They looked at the appraised rental value to pay for it, which is really bad. It's really bad.
Interesting.
Because that means that they don't know if the person can actually pay for that property. Right. And so that's why you have a lot of defaults. And right now you have a lot of homes for sale at undervalue because they have to. And so in theory, for an investment, the way Trump made it happen was you had to live in a property for a year. Otherwise, if you wanted to buy a rental property, it had to be a commercial loan. So at that point, the standards are higher for your credit. The deposits, the down payments are higher. The terms are shorter. Everything about a commercial real estate loan is different. But it keeps people from who want to be a slumlord millionaire overnight. It keeps those people out, which it should, right? Day one, Biden removed all of those controls that Trump put in. That's one of the reasons why our economy was growing, is because you couldn't just do that. So I literally, after the election, I had my banker call me up and say, hey, you remember that loan we couldn't make you 6 months ago? Yeah, we can.
Now we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can do that.
Yeah.
So
guaranteed.
So if Trump comes back in, I think it's better for everybody. If you're going to have a rental business, have a rental business, make it a business, do commercial loans. Don't fuck around with, I mean, look, I understand everybody wants better terms. Everybody wants to shave hairs off of it, but be a professional rental company and not a slum, not a guy that's just fly by wire, fly by night, that just doesn't have any fucking clue, has no reserves. You are in theory, every time you take a rent deposit for a house, when state Tennessee anyway, it has to go into a fund, a escrow account that you cannot touch except to get until you refund that deposit. And then you have to show that you've withdrawn that to refund it, and then you deduct from that if there's any damages or anything. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Interesting. Yeah, that's how you would break it down. Yeah. Interesting.
And so in the state of Tennessee, unless you're incorporated, you don't have to pay income tax on real estate income. But once you incorporate, you have to pay income tax. And that's fair. Because you get the protection of an LLC if you incorporate, right? And so I think the fairest way for real estate to work is that you have to, if either you get a commercial loan and do it the right way, or if you're going to go a standard residential loan or mortgage, then you have to live in it for a year. And after you've lived in it for a year, then you can rent it out. And it keeps people from doing the Airbnb. It keeps Airbnb market.
I have seen that, and that's what I heard it was against Airbnb.
No, it's been that way for a long time. It just prevents a lot of Airbnb stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Bedroom apartment in a decent part of town used to be $450 to $600 a month. Yep, I remember that. That included heat, okay, and water in most cases. Yeah. Now $900 to $1,500 for the same apartment. Yeah, but realize that 2 years ago I was buying a Big Mac extra value meal for $4, and it's $18 today.
Yeah, yeah, that's no joke.
Like,
it's insane.
Yeah, it's I hadn't eaten at McDonald's in like a year or something. I went through the fucking drive-through the other day, and I'm like, holy fuck!
Like, did I bring enough money? Like,
Big
damn,
Mac with Coke.
I didn't know I needed to bring 200 crisp bill. You know, like, damn, like I didn't know I needed to, spend my rent money.
Card, brother.
Yeah, insane. It's true though.
Yeah. So if you think the rent is bad, go to fucking McDonald's.
Yeah, speaking of the rent, it's kind of crazy. I moved from California before I moved here about 4 months ago.
Out there for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just crazy out there. My property tax alone out in California was $13 a year. You know what I mean? So 13,000. Yeah. And so it's like
my property. So I was in Hayward.
Okay. Yep.
In the Bay Area.
I was down south.
Yeah, I think my property tax was like $1,300 or $1,400 a month, and here in Tennessee, my property tax is $1,300 a year.
Yeah, what's crazy is I've got a 15-acre lake right here, and so that's giving you kind of an idea from a California home with no property, no shit. With now I've got to that level, and I just did my property taxes this last whatever, I guess it was like last month or whatever. It was like $900. I was like, that's insane, compared to where I moved from. Because if I wasn't making, let's just say $7,500 a month, $7,500 a month just to be able to put in your house or whatever, that's eating just ramen. Like it was a terrible lifestyle. Yeah, that's why I moved.
Yeah, the California is just strange. Like I sold my house in 2020 and or early 2021, I forget which, but it was like, we were renting it, and it was a good rental property for a little while, but the problem is that the property tax kept going up.
Yep.
And the insurance kept going up, and there came a breakover point where we started out renting it between the mortgage, taxes, insurance. We were making right at about $1,000 a month on the property.
Gross.
That's worth doing, right? That's worth it.
It would be absolutely worth it if there was zero hiccup, absolutely.
Everything's great. Yeah, everything's great.
Gravy train, right? Right.
So $1,000 a month, not that bad. Easy. Well, the insurance kept going up. The property tax kept going up. It got to be $800 a month, and I'm like, well, this fucking sucks.
Yep.
On profits, $800
and
a month.
You're double racing against time because two things are doing
that's
it.
Exactly it. It's like it's like I can't raise the rent, but every few months my property tax and insurance is going up, and I'm like, dude, you guys killing me. So finally it got to $800 a month profit, and I'm like, this isn't fucking worth it. Like, it's just not worth it. That's not even 12 grand a year in income off of this property. So we sold it, and that was fine. I have an apartment.
But that was in California.
I currently have an apartment in Jersey City. It's pretty good. Yeah.
But that one you were just talking about was in California.
That was in Hayward, California.
Okay.
So here here I went out, I sold that property. I went out and because of the difference in cost between the properties here in Tennessee, I went to an auction one day and I just bought a house for 200, it was like total out the door price was 280, right? Everything paid, tax, title,
Got it.
all that. And we just paid cash for it, 280 grand. That house has rented every single month after it took me 3 months to prep it, but once it was prepped, it's rented every month the same. I mean, it's never gone more than a month unrented since I've had it the past 3 or 4 years. And I kid you not that I rent that house out for $2,100 a month, $2,150 right now. And that's all profit every month. It just goes right in the bank.
Yep.
And the house keeps
Going up
appreciating
as well.
because I bought it at auction. I got a good deal.
See, that's a huge win. When you can do that with a property right there, that's ideal.
So then I bought another property. It was in distress. It was another, thing where the guys were going to go into foreclosure, and I bought it before it went into foreclosure. I paid $215 for it. I think it's $221 out the door, and then another cash. And it's got 20 acres.
Damn.
It's a 4-bedroom modular house. I spent about 40 grand, 50 grand remodeling it. That rents for the same $2,100 a month. Paid for. I always have somebody in there, and I can build more houses on that property if I want to, or I can just leave it like it is and it doesn't bother me.
Sure.
And it's and that's really how I like to buy property now. Like I don't really want to. I really dislike the idea of having a mortgage on on an income property.
Yes.
Because if anything changes, your profit margin's gone.
It's over.
And that $215,000 property that I bought out of distress, because it was never appraised or anything. So I actually need to have it appraised right now. But at one point in time, at the high point of the market, it was valued at $7.25.
Ooh. Yeah.
And that's without
incredible.
them knowing about the remodel or anything. That's just,
right.
And so that was,
that's incredible.
Yeah. That's how and you just, those kind of are rare, but if you look around and you just are kind of careful, you'll find that those better deals than just, going out on a weekend and finding a house and going, ooh, that's cool.
So impulse buying is not a thing. You're not supposed
I don't think
to do
impulse.
it, huh?
Well, and there's a lot of people who, there, and actually I had a buddy of mine who was like this, and he qualified for a mortgage. And he went out and literally like within a month bought a house.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
are you crazy? Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, that is nuts.
That's nuts. Like be really careful, find the right deal, find something that's going to be near the schools. And, one of the reasons why my houses are always rented is they're in 2 different school zones, and there's always somebody that they need they're moving, or they just sold their house and they need to rent for a year. And, but they need their kid to stay in that school, and they'll pay that little extra bit, man, to stay in that school zone. I'm just telling you.
Absolutely. They will.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, I think you just either, I guess at the end of the day, what I'm really saying is either be professional about it or don't fucking do it, because you'll lose your ass. Right. Be professional, and you'll do well. I mean, I think real estate is hard for a lot of people because it's the sheer numbers involved. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. When something breaks, if you put a roof on a house, it's not $1,000. That's 20 grand you got to cough up.
It's a lot of money and a lot of moving parts.
Right. And, and most places have laws like if the roof starts leaking over at one of my properties, I have 14 days to fix it.
Yep.
Once I'm notified.
Crazy.
And so it's not like you can just like go over there and be like, I'll get to it next week, or I'll get to it whenever. You need to be ready to
take on those costs
make
too.
shit happen and have that money available, have those funds available. And that's why I'm really critical of the real estate bro lifestyle.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it is really loose, in that
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, I guess I have more of a conservative mindset than just being willy nilly with especially my cash. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Well, I think most people should probably try and buy houses in cash.
Yeah, I agree
It's
with that.
hard now, but you can still do it. And I think that you need to be able to. But if you look at it that way, that means that you're going to have to save up. You're going to put a couple of tax returns together and not touch them. You have to maybe sell some stuff, and maybe you take a small mortgage out. But you're paying 50 or 60% of the value of that house, so you just can't get hurt. The biggest problem in our real estate market right now is so many people overpaid for houses because they could get a loan, and they didn't put enough money down on the loan. So now they can't sell it because they'll lose their fucking ass.
Yep, you start going in the reverse,
They're
backwards,
already
upside down.
They're in the red so far.
Yep.
There's no equity in the house. There's no equity they can pull out, and that's a tough situation to be in, right? And so I caution people all the time that there's a lot of people make good money in real estate, but a lot more people lose their balls in real estate.
Happens a
you
lot.
don't want to be that guy, right? You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the other guy. You want to be the guy that actually like makes money and approaches it as a in a smart way, in a meaningful way. Are we not? I think we need a white jackets with shiny buckles on them that you can hug yourself and rock back and forth in padded room. Yeah, we do probably
full
do
on
need
straight
some
jacket.
We probably do need some of those. We got some special people out there, that's for sure. So sorry guys, I apologize about the real estate prattle. I was prattling on, but
that was great.
It's an interesting topic every time it comes up, and it's
not something that I get to discuss every day, so I love that kind of shit. Absolutely, I appreciate the knowledge.
Yeah, well, it's always happy to help. I was hoping Glenn Lawrence would come up before I have to go. I got about 20 minutes before we wind down, and he said 10 minutes.
10 minutes ago. Oh, you called him. Yeah, you called him out.
Speak of the devil, and he shout up here. Good evening or afternoon or whatever the heck it is there, Glenn Lawrence. How are you, sir?
I am well. How are you guys doing? I'm recovering from my extremely long Jubilee episode. Actually, 2 episodes that we filmed yesterday.
Oh, nice.
That's right. I did hear that on your stream yesterday. That's right.
I should.
How'd that go?
I pissed people off.
Well, I'm sure.
Your mic's low, Glenn.
You want me to be like this?
That's way better.
Okay. No, I pissed a lot of people off yesterday.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
That's good content. Good content.
That's great content.
I even stole.
You should have got me an invite, bro. You should have got me an invite, man.
You wouldn't fly out to LA. You said you won't ever come to LA. So
they have another facility.
Yeah, they have one in Florida. They rent out one in Tennessee.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, it was the Republican versus Democrat one, and so
did you smoke them into the dirt? Did I give you all the ammunition you needed to beat them into submission and half to death?
You get when they allowed me to speak, like there was like 30 people on each side, so it was like it wasn't like we each all had a bunch of time to speak. So like I had to like be very efficient with my talking time, and I stole "Are We Not Men" saying.
Which is?
Oh, so you just like to say a bunch of words and shit?
Yeah.
I totally told this guy that.
You just saying stuff. That's from Chaotic Truth. You just saying stuff.
I'll just say, I was like, dude, you just saying a bunch of words and shit. And like when it came to the abortion topic, I'm like, look, listen, we all know these bitches just want a way to get out of being accountable for their actions and avoid consequences. And everybody was
Linda,
like,
listen.
Everybody was like, oh, how dare you? I'm like, well, it's true. And then when the girl's arguing her point, it was all about not wanting to be accountable for her actions and shit. I was like, I just said this shit.
You doing exactly the thing that I said that you would do when you said the thing.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to do a 1v20 or nothing like that?
Oh no, yeah, no 1v20, unfortunately.
Did you
It
were
felt
you
like
able
it
to
was
use any of the
1v20.
things that I sent you? Because I was like, did I do all of that work for nothing?
Yeah, like, well, so I got to the Second Amendment one. That was the one that I was able to use the most about guns.
Yeah.
Because they were like, so how about we come to this as a compromise? And the compromise was like more gun like background checks and regulations like before you get a gun. I was like, no, we already have that shit. So why do I want more of it? How about we just do this? My answer is like, how about we just do this? Everybody gets a gun.
Yeah.
And we train them.
Everyone
Solves
period.
a lot.
You have
Everyone
to have
period. Everyone period has to have a gun.
Yeah. Training optional. $2 from the Raging Patriot 1776. He is raging today. When did Jughead get on the panel? If you know, you know. That's funny.
Emotional damage.
Jughead. I remember Jughead. That's funny. That's very funny. Glenn, you came in right as I was about to end, man.
Oh, well, perfect timing.
Are you firing up a stream or what?
No, I'm just firing up some coffee right now.
There you go, man.
Nice.
That's cool.
I'm just getting up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool.
Yesterday it was a toll.
Yeah.
It was a toll. But you know what? My position did change on the Israel thing after speaking to this doctor from Israel.
Yeah.
Who's here now.
Are you on my side now?
Well, my side was like originally not my problem.
Yeah.
But when I think about all the intel and how much like that region is important to us, like strategically, I was like, kind
of our problem.
It is. It's kind of our problem. Like, you know, because if they get taken out, then it is our problem because now we don't have the intel that we would need from that region to protect us from any foreign threats that might be coming over. So I'm like,
yeah. I mean, we have to. I mean, it's a real thing that the Mossad is the best in the world at what they do because they don't really have a choice but to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
have you heard anything out of Ben or Grace?
Ben or Grace? Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you hear? Did they concede victory?
No. They actually they want to reschedule. I haven't responded back. I'm a really busy person, you know.
Well, let your secretary get to that.
Yeah, you know, she's
Put
on
it
vacation.
on your secretary's desk. They'll get to
I
it.
did. I'm putting it on my secretary's desk. She's on vacation for a while, so you know,
yeah, that happens. Yeah. You got to take care of your secretaries.
We'll see when my secretary is, you know, able to come
if
back.
It's your secretary, she may never be back in the office.
That is true. She might be busy doing secretary work.
That's right. Yeah, my position remains the same. I don't have a problem staying out of it. I absolutely have no problem with them killing terrorists that we would otherwise have to kill ourselves. And I just don't want to send them a whole bunch of money. That's about it.
My thing is like I would rather send Israel all the money that we sent Ukraine.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I could live with that. You know, Ukraine is not an ally.
I don't want to send anybody any money. I'm an isolationist. Fuck everybody in the world. However, if we're going to send money, might as well send it to Israel.
That's where I stand. That's where I stand with it. I'm not gonna lie, but the doctor that was telling me this, she was gorgeous.
That's why
you listened.
I was like, that's the only reason why.
That's why you listened. Yeah, we know.
I was like a hot Jewish lawyer. I was just like, You know, I'll pay attention to what you got to say.
Did she look like Gal Gadot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So was she boning the producer?
No. Actually, the funny thing is, she wants me to shoot some content with her at her office. So we're gonna schedule some. What?
It's going down.
No, get your dirty minds out of the gutter, you filthy animals. She's a plastic surgeon, and we're gonna talk about how BBW or BBLs are bad for women.
Good content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they die a lot actually from that whole surgery shit. Getting injected and shit. Yeah.
I was gonna hit up, Cheeks and let him know. I think I found someone for him, to want to do the little drizzle. But
Oh,
Cheeks
man.
is all the way on the East Coast. She lives out here in LA, so it might not work out for him.
Glenn is a married man. That's why it's so funny. It wouldn't be funny if he wasn't married. Then it would just be jealousy.
Yeah.
How is that hard R N word Cheeks? He is still a hard N word. Hard R N word. Nah, he's all right. He was
Cheeks
on
was
this morning. I
texting
was
me.
giving him crap.
He was texting me this morning. The hurricane is gonna destroy him.
Yeah, it's gonna wipe him out. I
told him I'll send him some floaties.
Yeah.
He should be used to it, being a wetback and all.
Well, dude, have you seen his haircut, man? I keep telling him he's just gone too far Miami.
Well, he lives there and he's from there, right?
Yeah, I know, but he's just, he
But he really lives it up. He really shows like he's from Miami
he lives
for
in
real.
Tampa, but he's got the Latino kind of greased down curl thing going on. And his glasses just make him look really feminine. That's all.
You think that's what
I can already picture
feminine?
this.
I think it's his smile that makes him look feminine.
Damn.
His cheesy Cheeserson smile.
Cheesy McCheesers.
That's rough.
All right.
He either looks like, a chick or he looks like a gay dude.
Fucking shit, man.
You there?
Oh, did he bail?
He kicked himself out.
He kicked himself out. Damn.
He was probably
Right
on his
as we were
phone and
about
accidentally
to
went
say
backwards.
this one, Glenn Lawrence prediction on men coming soon. That's funny. All right, guys. Actually, I'm got to get out of here too. I'm gonna. We got 10 minutes left. Mikey Balls.
I appreciate it.
How about your last words, man? What do you got?
No, it's just a crazy time frame that we live in.
Glenn's back. We get him on a last word.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just been a crazy ass time. I mean, we've been living in probably one of the craziest, at least times that I've been able to witness. I think a lot of times it's misconstrued. A lot of the times that we go, man, it's never been this bad ever. But I think it truly has been. It's just never been media glorified. And with so much social media presence behind everything, everyone's got access to their phone. It's an information war. And so talks like this is actually the best cure for this exact thing, is being able to talk about this and have people tune in and go, oh, shit, I wouldn't have thought of that myself if I didn't hear it. So anyways, I appreciate it, Grid.
Grid,
Glenn.
stay on a little bit longer. I'll fire a stream up and talk about.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Fire it up.
All right, man.
Give me some time. Give me 15 minutes so I can set this up.
15 minutes.
Damn.
Hey, perfection takes,
I'll do what I can, man.
All right. Well, I'll let you to it, Grid.
All right. Thank you, Mikey Balls.
Much love.
Good to
We'll see you
man.
guys.
Good
Take
to
it
see
easy, Mike.
Much love. See you guys.
Yeah. Glenn, what about that? What about that adventure the other night on the X platform?
Oh, you mean the one that I was about to upload?
Oh, you about to upload? Because literally everyone's been covering that, except for me, obviously, because I don't do that.
Well, I have. I clipped it. I've cut it to where it's our arguments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
A good side.
I did get your good side.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
I'm actually uploading it right now as we speak.
Sweet.
So people could see it because I thought it was very, very, very good.
Did you get the part where I told that young lady I was really disappointed in her and my
I
father?
got all of it.
That was great. Yeah, I set 15 minutes out of my old man nap. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. That's funny. It's true though. But,
like that was, what the best out about that, if anything, when I was looking back at it, it shows like it just shows the type of person Andrew is, right? Because here you go, Andrew not knowing any of this, what was going on, and you have all these people like going after this person and letting them know, like, hey, you are speaking ill of somebody. And like normally people don't give a shit. People like live for that like drama shit, and people.
Glenn, talk to the chat for a minute. I've got to go. I've got somebody at my door, so give me one. Talk to the chat.
You don't have like a butler? I thought you were white people
are here, but they don't speak English, so
gotcha.
Yeah.
What up, chat? How you living? Hope you're living well. I'm talking to myself. I don't know why he said talk to the chat. Any hoosers. Yeah, this whole autocorrect versus Andrew thing was stupid. She didn't like the fact that I told her, I was like, well, you're gossiping and you're sinning, so are you not a real Christian? She didn't like that too much. And she tried to, well, what about them? But what about the Mendo? I'm like, bitch, what about you? What about you, ho? Fuck, what about the Mendo? What about you, though? That should have been the real question. And if you guys are talking to me, I don't know what you're saying because, well, I'm looking at a different screen right now. So there's that. Man, but yesterday, I almost wanted to slap, like, there was a bunch of Republicans I wanted to slap. We had this one hoe. She's like, I'm pro-choice. I'm like, you are not a Republican. Like, and then she's like, but I'm a Christian. I'm like, you're not even a Christian. Oh, and then there was this pastor, right? Pastor, he was a Democrat, and he was like all for abortion, the homos, and the trans. And I was like, how are you a pastor? What church do you pastor? The Church of Satan? I'm like, it has to be the Church of Satan, because I mean, let's be real. There could be no other church that allows that type of shit except the Church of Satan. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Yeah, 1-800-SLAP-A-HOE. 1-800-SLAP-A-HOE. No, shout out to Tim. The homie Tim was the only one that was in there that was able to get everybody up on the panel. And he had to sit through all that shit. You know what I mean? Am I spelling that right? I can't even think right now. Let's see. But what about the Mendo? I'm trying to schedule this damn stream here, guys. 1 second.
Yep. What's up?
Okay.
You get it?
What?
Whatever you were trying to do.
The stream setup?
Yeah. I just came in the middle of the conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a thumbnail for it or anything. We're just gonna be rolling with it.
Cool.
But yeah, no. What were you saying?
Oh, the Twitter thing was awesome. I hadn't actually been on Twitter like that. And what was interesting is for some reason I couldn't log into the show's Twitter. And it just basically It
was basically what?
I had to log in under my real name, which was fine.
I know. That's why I was like,
Yeah, it's funny because Josie's got like my name, and then it's got an arrow, and I'm like, hey, what about that?
I was like, great. If you're trying to be inconspicuous and unknown,
yeah,
you're doing a really horrible job at it.
I did a really horrible job at it. Well, I mean, I was trying, but then it wasn't.
Like, well, you just told everybody your name.
Yep. Yeah, it's fine. It's easy to find anyway. I didn't tell him that. Josie did.
But Josie told him your name? No,
she had it up on the screen. I didn't say my name.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she had it on screen, on her screen. She's got my little like logo with my name there, and an arrow drawn to it. This is grid 1. It's very funny.
That is funny.
Well,
all right. I got the stream set up.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry, my wife was wanting to know about her delivery. That I was like, I just got it. I promise. I'll give me a minute. You know. But yeah, good times. Good times.
No problem.
It was almost a clean exit to the show. Just missed it by that much.
Well, how about this? I'm gonna go ahead and kick this stream off.
Yeah, kick that off.
And then we will.
So
yeah, let me do this. Hold on, let me send you the link first. How about that?
Yeah, man.
Too much going on. I haven't had enough coffee yet.
There's never enough coffee.
There really isn't.
I actually have to. Now that I've been had all my thoughts jumbled up. One of the things that kind of pops to the top is that I've really got to talk to you about doing the workout deal, because my the guy that's been working with me at my gym, he's I think he's way more interested in all of the returning schoolgirl, the college chicks that are coming back.
Well, of course, they're hotter than you. What do you expect?
Way hotter than me. Hey, what's up, Michelle? You're coming in as we're going out. How's your mom, Michelle?
Did you got my link right?
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
All right, cool. I'm gonna start my link. I'll hop off. Say goodbye to everybody for me, and I'll be over here.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, peace.
Yeah. Let me just get this done. Do some curls. I do curls, yes, but yeah, for whatever reason, my the guy that the trainer that's been helping me at the gym is doesn't seem to have very much time for me, and I 100% believe that it's because of all of the college girls that are back now. Doing good, recovering from a double knee replacement. Ouch. Had to make her weed cream. Ew, gross. What are you doing? What are you doing? All right, guys. I'm going to send you guys over to Glenn today. Obviously, he just shot with Jubilee yesterday, and he's going to tell you all about that. I'm glad that you're helping your mom, Michelle. To everybody else that's hung out this long, I really appreciate it. We did have a great show today. It's been an awful lot of fun. Normally, I'd have some like long, drawn out thing, but not today. We're just gonna end the stream by saying, "Get off my lawn," and have a great rest of your day. And wear glasses if you need them.
Yeah, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told me that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?
No, but